I want to finish this Destiny video. You know? We'll finish this one up. Boom. I just want to get a drink though. It's desktop audio.
Here on YouTube and Twitch, like every secret propagates at the speed of whatever your internet connection is. It's insane.
Okay. Okay.
One of the things that I like about kind of like larger entities versus smaller ones is that with a larger entity, the corruption is really, really, really hard to hide. Anybody that works with any amount of like infosec, so information security, will know like how easy it is to hack accounts, how easy it is to just get people's passwords, how much people just blah, 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 talk. Like we've seen out of the Trump administration or any administration, how leaky people talk to journalists. The idea of like trusting one individual who could very easily lie and not really get caught for it because there's not many people around to expose it, it feels like it's way easier for one person to lie versus like an entire entity like CNN, who's going to have like a ton of other players in the field that will bust their balls if they can find that they're fucking up something, right? Like however much you want to think that the media conglomerates are all like out to fuck America, like if the New York Times or the Washington Post or MSNBC gets like a juicy story on CNN, they're going to run it, right? They're going to fuck them up because, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So I guess where I just disagree with that is that I'm not saying I'm going to trust like an individual who has, no influence at all and is, doesn't have like anything to really show for their work or anything like that. That's definitely not what I'm saying. When I say that I trust like James O'Keefe and Project Veritas is the fact that I know them, I've talked to them personally, and also based off their work and their portfolio of exposing things. And when it comes to trusting a corporation, I'm not like saying trusting them, I guess, with data or something like that, which I definitely don't trust them with that. I'm talking about their motives and like what is behind that, because it's very apparent. It's so apparent the motive of woke capitalism, basically. They're all, I mean, look at the Pride Parade, right? The Pride Parade is all huge corporations on floats. And also, I saw that you had like LGBT in your tag thing. Are you like, why did you put that?
I'm bisexual.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought you were, okay. I was like, that's interesting. So like, that's interesting to me that like the corporations are all throughout the Pride Parade, and it's like, so they're all pushing that narrative. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're neutral and they'll do that and then support something else. It's like one or the other. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that that's like beneficial to our culture. So
yeah, so I mean, like, so I kind of almost got into this a little bit with the other girl that was on stage. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think it's important for us to understand like what firms are supposed to do in our society, right? So the goal of any business is to make money. So corporations are going to pander to whoever they think they need to pander to make money. But I don't think we can say whether or not that's right or wrong, but that's going to be an expected behavior that is always going to be what it is, right?
I think that's not necessarily the case anymore, though. I think a lot of huge corporations have risked profitability because of think about it. You have, when you're staying neutral, you have two sides, like you have left and right who are going to support you. Like Sephora is a really good example for this. There is this Christian conservative makeup artist, and she was working with them, like working with Sephora, getting paid for a brand deal. And then someone commented or tweeted Sephora and said, "You're supporting a racist Nazi." This girl's just a Christian conservative, random girl, like no big deal. And she got fired from Sephora. So now Sephora is saying, well, we don't support conservatives. Now you have a Sephora boycott. So I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that...
Wait, that sounded like everything that we expect would happen though, right? Or what part of that isn't true? It sounds like the corporation buckled, they fired because they didn't want to get in trouble publicly, and like even the left does this to itself. I'm sure you must have seen the girl that got a job at Teen Vogue or whatever as like an editor, and they found like dumb tweets that she made like fucking 11 years ago when she was 17, and they ended up firing her for it because the whole editorial board was like, we think this is horrible.
I didn't see that, but no, I mean that's not what this girl is not a Nazi. She was just a conservative. So like now it's conservatives are bad, conservatives are Nazis, conservatives are racist, when that's not true.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying though. So like Sephora is saying we don't support conservatives. Now you have half of the people, like I mean, it's like 50-50. Half of the people who were conservatives who shopped at Sephora now they're not going to. So you're losing money. That's what. Well, no,
but that's the thing. I don't think you are losing money. I think that right now, I don't know if I would get you to agree with this now, but like 30 years ago, I would say that kind of like Christian, like white evangelical quote unquote culture was kind of like the more mainstreamish. Like we didn't really see as much the promotion of like LGBT stuff. Not in my lifetime, not nowhere near as much as it did the past like 10 or 15 years. Like a lot of the bad guys were stereotypical, gay people were pretty bad in society, blah 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 blah. And corporations played a hard part of that. But now is like kind of this like left-leaning narrative has gotten more profitable, which I think it has. Now you're just seeing corporations pander to that. I think that they act like pretty predictably. Like they're just gonna go wherever the money is. And right now, if you do anything with like conservatives or anything like that, like you get hardcore fucking canceled. People start tweeting at you and boycotting you. So they just do what they think will like make them the most money. You know.
Well, I think they get canceled because like that side is the loudest. Like you've heard of the silent majority. So I think that conservatives, which is I personally do not like about my party, is that we're super like be nice to everyone and we just need to be loving and all this stuff, which is like not how the opposite side treats us. And that's why we're in this shitty place where we just get mowed over. We have to compromise for our beliefs.
Let's check the comments. No comments.
Murder on my mind.
The one is like way louder. Hold on. What's it called? Let me just unplug this.
Beliefs. Like Christianity has never been more progressive and it's really detrimental to our faith as well. And so I don't really necessarily agree with that.
Okay, so that's good. How do you reconcile? Oh, well, this was kind of my question to on that panel that I never got answered. So how do you reconcile the way that Trump speaks to American citizens versus the way Biden speaks to American citizens when you say that like Republicans are too nice compared to the other side? I feel like there's a night and day difference.
Okay, I'm not saying Republicans are too nice. I'm just saying we're told that we have to be nice. Like that's kind of, especially Christians. I'm telling you right here and now, if you're a Christian right now or a Christian conservative, it's like, where's that Christ love? Right? Like that's the whole thing. But talking about Trump, I think people like Trump because of how honest he is. I liked Trump because of how honest he is. I really don't like it when Kamala Harris gets on, gets in front of everyone and says, hope is here. Help is here. That's like the worst thing a politician could ever say. So I think she's the most unlikable human. And just because she smiles and like says nice things, and whenever she's asked about she's gonna go visit the border because that's her duty, she laughs and says, not today. Like just because she doesn't vocally say something that's maybe I don't know, controversial, whatever, like that doesn't make you a nice person. And I don't care too much about like what people are, I just like I like how Trump talks. I like that he's
okay,
just
what if we ignore, because I don't know where we're going with the talking thing, but so let's ignore the talking thing. Let's just look at legislation. So now we're still very much in the infancy of the Biden presidency, but now that we've seen like a big, huge bill. So for Trump, it seems like we got a lot of tax cuts that were more targeted towards kind of like bigger players, more wealthy people, like larger corporations, and Biden's kind of like tax incentives here. Like that, like how do you reconcile, like being nice to the average American or whatever? Like the big difference between Biden's approach versus Trump's approach here.
Well, that's the thing is like I don't care about being like nice. It's not something that like I wasn't making a claim that I care about being.
Okay. That was weird. We figured it out though. He's getting her. He's getting her good.
Like, oh, well, it's just a little piece of skin. I think generally we would say, like, well, we probably shouldn't be, like, cutting up the genitals of our children because it's kind of like a violation of bodily autonomy.
Oh, sure. Okay, I can get behind that. I'm not mad about that. Like, whatever, that's fine. I can do more research into that, and maybe I'll learn something new. Who knows? Sure. But my whole point of what I was saying is that my issue with this whole leftist, them using the open window is that they're pushing extreme things. Now we have children who are changing their gender. Whenever I was 3, like, I was running around thinking I was freaking an astronaut one day, a monkey one day. Like, to say that a kid knows their gender is absolutely insane. I think that's child abuse.
This is okay. So we don't have to go like all the way down the road on trans issues, depending on how much you want to go. But this is something that's always interested me because it feels to me like, do you think that men and women are probably like pretty different from each other, like, or there's at least like some differences biologically, like in our brains?
I think that men and women are extremely different. And that's what makes us.
Yeah. Sure. So psychology would tend to agree with you. So I don't know if you've heard of this particular study before, but at a very, very, very early age, like I think 2 or 3 months, if you give different types of toys to babies, they will engage with different toys differently. Like I think boys play with like puzzle toys or like things with more moving parts than girls do. And that can be observed at a very, very early age. And then also, I don't know if you've talked to any people that have given birth, but as a son haver myself, and then who's people who talk to other people giving birth, there are differences in the ways that like babies act in the womb. Boys will can kick more and do more stuff versus girls at very, very, very early ages. When I say early ages, I don't mean like 9 or 10. I mean at like 9 or 10 weeks. I think you can start to see like some type of gender differentiation. Do you think that these things are generally true, or do you doubt anything I've told you?
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So if we think that children can have like some experience of their gender, which it seems to be the case at like a very early age, is it like impossible to think that somebody might know a bit about their gender when they're like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6?
Yeah, because I think that that's like something that's just innate. I don't think that they have consciousness when it comes to that. I think that that's sexualizing a child extremely young, and I think that that's so detrimental.
Well, what do you mean by sexualizing a child? It's like children sexualize themselves since they're like 3 months old, right?
What?
So
they sexualize themselves at 3 months old.
Yeah. So again, I don't know how deep you're gonna get into this, but as a parent, like children, when you start changing diapers, especially fucking boys, like as soon as they know they got a dick, they reach down there and they start fucking around and stuff. Like that whole like sexual exploration for children is like from a very early age all the way up to fucking adolescence and through that when they start like learning their bodies and the differences between all of them. Like it's like a pretty normal part of like kids growing up. It's not like they wait until they're 15 or 16 and then they're like, oh shit, like I think I'm different than other people, right?
No, I definitely, I understand that, but I'm saying that I just don't think that telling a kid, like, okay, here's an example. I saw a TikTok one time. I don't know if you saw this. And it's this mom, and she's holding her child that's like literally less than 1 year old. And she's like, my baby's gay. You want to say your baby's straight, which no one does that. But you want to say your baby's straight, my baby's gay, my baby's gay. I'm like, why? I'm sure you want to say that they're messing around with their bodies. I think that's very different than sexuality and attraction. I think that's a very different thing. I don't understand how, you see little girls walking around at the age of 10 at drag queen shows. They're being paraded through drag queen shows, and men are throwing money at them. And the drag queens are saying, go get your money, girl, at the age of 10. Detrimental, horrible, disgusting child abuse. No.
So,
and that's what I'm talking about, the person in the window pushing this crazy thing. So now we have to be like, okay, yeah, guys, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you that there are fucking crazy people in the LGBT community. 100%. They absolutely are out there. And I spend a lot of time arguing with them. But I think it's good. I don't think we have to define ourselves by the extremes on the other end, right? Like if we want these people to be less influential, it seems maybe detrimental to let them have such a sway over our own thoughts and feelings. There are definitely lunatics out there. I've seen videos and I've seen people that will say like, oh, I don't give a gender to my 3-year-old. I'm gonna wait till they're old enough to decide and blah, blah, blah. And people do that shit. And you know what? If they want to do that shit, I think it's dumb. But like, just because people are out there doing stuff like that doesn't mean that like I have to stand as far away on the opposite side of them as possible. And be like, well, I actually think that everything about trans people is 100% fake because of how much I get enraged by these people. There's probably like a middle ground, right? Like I think there's been like neuroimaging, like neuroscience studies have come out. I don't know if you've seen these or not, or if you're interested or care at all. Like the differences between like a male brain and a female brain. And you can see in trans people that like trans women, so men that have transitioned to being female, like exhibit more like female brain things than male brain things. So it seems like the science is kind of pointing in that direction. They're like, okay, well maybe there is something more to this than just like a crazy mom on Tumblr wanted her boy to be a girl.
Yeah, and that's called gender dysphoria. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but my problem is a lot of, most of the time when people have gender dysphoria, there's a root cause. It's not just born out of nothing. A lot of the time it has to do with trauma and child abuse. A lot of people who are in the trans community, they're all wrapped up in drugs and all this stuff. There's a lot of people who like struggle with all of that stuff. And that's my problem is everything is so normal and glamorous about it now. And I know in California, I don't know if there's still a policy like this, but it was illegal for doctors to deny like people transitioning. And I think that's insane. Like you I know of a person who went to a doctor because he was 40 years old and he was having these horrible problems his whole life because his grandma dressed him up in a dress when he was 4 and then telling him how beautiful he was. And then he was confused all the way up to he was 40, divorced his wife, all this stuff, got transitioned. Then 8 years later, detransitioned because the root of the problem was the fact that he had sexual abuse issues. That's why you don't see suicide go down after they get transitioned. That's my problem is we're not getting to the root of the cause and we're making it glamorized. And at first it's a mental condition because we're trying to, make sure everyone accepts them. And then now it's not a mental condition. And now this is just the way life is. Now this is normal. And now we can't have gender reveals now. And that, giving your child a gender at birth is ridiculous. As Demi Lovato says, that's my problem is we have big, humongous people in our culture. I heard you talking about, changing the culture earlier. We have huge people who are saying that this is horrible to have a gender reveal. That's fucking crazy. You're telling me that my child is basically going to be born with a mental illness? No, like that's I think that there's we need to get to the root of the problem and figure out what the issue is because this is not normal. This is crazy.
So even if I grant you almost all of that, let's say that you and I both agree that trans identities are born out of some type of early trauma or some type of early, adverse event. Let's say that every single trans person could be a different way if they had experienced some different earlier childhood. It's not really relevant now, though, is it? Like, don't you think that when you look at a currently existing trans person, isn't it best to just go by what are the medical guidelines to minimize the harm to this person, and then you meet them where they're at now in life? Like, say for instance, you get what?
Like, I think you get therapy, and I think that you don't force other people to.
So real quick, so therapy doesn't work, right? We tried therapy with gay people. You can't just untrans somebody with therapy. You can't ungay somebody with therapy. It doesn't work that way.
Therapy does work. It's been proven to work. Like, there's many people who have detransitioned because they've gone to therapy and realized the root of the issue. And like, I've gone through years and years of therapy myself for a lot of the same situations that happen to people who are trans. Like, I have gone through very similar situations. So I do understand that it's not reversible. I'm not saying that you can just pretend like trauma's never happened to you, but there are ways. There's something called EMDR therapy that I went through. There are ways to get past things in your life. And so to tell someone, that's a whole big thing. Well, I won't get into it, but that's a whole big thing with BLM, right? We're telling people that, oh, this is irreversible, so we need to just meet you where you are now. I don't think that that's responsible. I think that that's, not giving someone the quality of life that they potentially could have. And I also think it's ridiculous, once again, to make other people accept your delusions.
Well,
like,
when you say make other people, like, no, you don't have to do anything. That's like, I don't think anybody cares. Like if some trans person.
Now you can get censored. You can get completely taken off platforms if you don't call someone by the right pronoun. In Canada, you get arrested.
So real quick, so nobody's been arrested in Canada for not calling somebody by the right pronoun. It doesn't happen. Okay, number one.
That does happen.
It doesn't happen. It absolutely doesn't happen.
What about that guy who got his kid taken away from him because he didn't want his kid to transition in Canada? Does that child abuse now?
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, like, you kind of have to. I guess we hit that. We kind of hit that epistemic foundation that I talked about earlier, where we have to figure out like where do we get kind of our source of knowledge or truth from. And I guess when it comes to things like issues relating to the mind or your sexuality or gender, I feel like I would rather trust like larger organizations than I guess like religious people giving me kind of their religious ideology in regards to these things, because I don't think I'm gonna get like the fairest answer from somebody that's like super bought into that particular case. Also, for the person that like got his kid taken away, didn't that guy like to file like a court order or something?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because I think that was one where the reason why he lost access to his kid was because the mother had already gotten like an approved treatment for the child, and they were both on the same side with it. And then I think the dad defied a court order. Yeah. So I mean, like that's probably fair. If you've got one parent on your side, right? That's probably fair that like a court might side there with a parent, right?
That sucks for them. But I don't know. I just think my problem is like, I know we're not there yet, and then you can call me conspiracy theorist, whatever, but we're seeing that our First Amendment be taken away like day after day, being censored day after day, and so that's why I speak out about this, and I'm worried about it because we are seeing it in other countries that's happening, and people are lobbying. They're trying to have hate speech be illegal, which how do we even define hate speech? And so, well,
to be clear, hate speech will never be made illegal in the U.S. without changing the First Amendment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've got
Biden did say that no amendment is absolute, so that's nice.
Well, but that's by definition that's true. No amendment is absolute, right? That's why there are amendments.
I think that's terrifying that our president is going on and saying that no amendment is absolute, especially in the current state that our country's in right now. Like, why in the hell would you say that?
I mean, I agree with you, but like something that's even scarier to me was the idea of Donald Trump on 2 different occasions said that people that burn the flag should be like revoked of their citizenship. I mean, that's a pretty huge.
In a lot of other countries, you would. A lot of other countries, if people did what they did in this country, you'd be killed.
Wait, but I thought you just argued we don't want to be like those other countries.
No, I know. I'm not saying we want to be like those other countries. I'm just saying that, I think it's crazy that people complain. I'm not obviously arguing that we should be like that. I'm just saying it's funny that people complain about how horrible our country is. But it's like if you were gay in a Middle Eastern country, you'd be pushed off a roof. Like, really? Your life is so hard? Really?
I mean, it's super, first of all, that super depends on what quote unquote Middle Eastern country we're talking about, right? Like, you're going to be treated a lot differently in Jordan than you are in fucking Saudi Arabia for being gay, right? So like, it super depends on the country we're talking about. But also, regardless, like, we don't compare ourselves to other countries. It's like if you listen to any motivational speaker or self-help speaker, right? You don't compare yourself to another person. You only compare yourself to yourself because that's who you want to be better than, right? So when we're looking at like how can we make our country better, it's probably not a matter of like, are we doing better than the British or doing better than some other country, right? We want to compare ourselves to ourselves, right?
Yeah, sure, but I guess my point is that everyone complains about it and people say how horrible America is. It's like, bro, move anywhere else. Like, that's my thing, and I understand when
I don't know if that follows super well. You want to compare to... I think the whole point is you should probably try to compare yourself to other countries, right? It works for people. Maybe if you're... I guess America's supposed to be like the greatest country to play to with or something. At least that's what people talk. Maybe that's the meme he's going with. Compare ourselves to ourselves. I'll have to think about that one. That's an interesting one.
Prove. I get that. I understand the whole progressive thing is we need to be progressive, but too much progression is regression. And it's, talking about culture, I think our culture is the most degenerate place it's ever been. It is, I mean, what's happening right now has been the collapse of so many great empires. It's really sad. And that's my huge concern with everything. Like, I think that the left, what they're pushing is so degenerate and not a lot of benefit, nothing good has come from it. So.
Well, I mean, that's pretty arguable. I guess it depends on, what do you, okay, well, I'll bite. What do you mean about degeneracy?
Say that again?
What do you mean about degeneracy?
Degeneracy, like, I mean, I don't know, transgenders, like, homosexuality, all these things is considered like degenerate, especially to a Christian. Like, that's degenerative behavior. I mean, you can talk about just our culture of normalizing going to hell. I mean, it's crazy.
Do we need to normalize going to hell again? Is that? I thought that was a pretty shitty part of. Do you mind me asking what denomination are you? Do you have a denomination or?
No, I'm just Christian. I don't really be like, I'm Catholic. I'm just Christian. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I just believe in Jesus. I'm not really one of those people who's like, I don't really care about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wait, did you say that people aren't normalizing going to hell?
Or I asked if you thought people should be normalizing going to hell again.
Oh, no, I mean like they're normalizing like that it's a good thing.
Oh.
There's so many people who are like, yeah, hell, there's a party there. Like, do you know, obviously you know who H3H3 is, right?
Yeah, Ethan, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, in his podcast, someone I watch his podcast all the time, even though he just shits on Christians and conservatives the whole time, but whatever, I still like him. I think he's entertaining. And, you know, he's like, yeah, hell's a party. I don't know why all these Christians think it's so bad. It's like you're telling that to millions of kids, and now millions of kids are going to walk around like thinking that that's cool. Like, why? That's not something that should be normalized. I don't understand.
Well, I mean, it's probably a matter of values, right? If we're going like by strict interpretation of, you know, scripture, then hell is probably going to be filled with a lot more fun people than people in heaven, like, depending. But I mean, like, it's not really talking about like going to hell or heaven. It's more a question of like values, like, well, what kind of lives do we want to live over on earth, right?
No, I mean, I think like any Christian would tell you that they're excited to go to heaven. It seems like the best time ever. I would definitely not want to be in hell. It's
well, yeah, but say if you're like a gay guy, you probably don't want to go to heaven because you're probably not allowed to be gay up there, right? I mean, like that's like one of like a million examples.
Okay, so this is the thing. All right, so we can go into that situation now. I live in Chicago,
sure,
and every single church here has an LGBT flag on the freaking cross, or like, you know, LGBT friendly. And I'm like, bro, that's like having a church that says adulterers welcome. Like, I'm not saying that we should be mean to people who are LGBT. I don't care. Like, I'm not ever going to be mean to someone or freaking say they should be stoned or that they're less than of a person. No, we're all sinners. Like, that is what a Christian, an actual Christian, a true life Christian believes. So in my opinion, celebrating sin is not a good thing. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't be led into a church? No, that's insane and that's horrible. But same thing goes for an adulterer. I'm not like, yeah, you're an adulterer, or like, I don't think that we should put a syringe on the cross and be like, yeah, you do heroin, man, let's go. Like, no, I think that sin is sin and it shouldn't be celebrated. And I think that
I don't know if churches celebrate it. They probably just want to let these people know that they'd be welcome into their concession without procession. They probably want to be welcomed into their church processions without being like discriminated against. That's probably what they want to know. I don't think churches are like, oh my God, you're gay, that's so awesome. Like, come be gay, awesome.
There's no progressive Christianity is a huge problem in Christianity right now. Like, that's a huge talking point that a lot of sermons, they're like, it's okay to be gay, guys. Like, it's all fine. It's not a sin. And it is a sin. And once again, we're all sinners.
Well, to be clear, yeah. So, okay, we gotta be, okay. So hold on. I was raised.
This girl is, ooh. Yikes. More crazy stuff coming up.
Very, very, very Catholic. So I have a lot of Jesus shit in my head, okay? So to be clear, Jesus absolutely welcomed sinners among him with open arms and loved them and almost, I don't want to say celebrated their sinfulness, but like there are plenty of stories of Jesus stepping in and being like, hey, like don't be so judgmental. Like these people are chill. Let them come in, let them repent, blah, 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 blah. So the idea of like a church saying like, hey, if you're LGBT, you're welcome here. Like that is totally in line, 100% on point with like anything you would have expected to hear in any of the Gospels, right? Like that's not, I don't think that's out of line at all. I think that's to be expected. I think that for a while, like I'm only going by like things I know in my community, but like churches were having problems because like a lot of LGBT people felt like they weren't welcome in any of these places, and so they started to change their branding because a really important part of being a church, just like a corporation, you need members, right? Because you need people donating every week so that you can keep the doors open and pay the bills and everything. Like, and having a bigger church and a more active community is important. I don't think any of that is like out of step with what we would expect. Like even a religious institution that's being faithful to its scripture is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I just disagree with that because I think once again it's basically just like saying like adulterers, it's okay that you're an adulterer. Like I think that as sinners, you know, like you, as a Christian, you don't excuse your sin. You work on your sin and you say, hey, I'm a sinner. Like I need to work on this. I need to do better at this. Forgive me for my sin. It's not, you know, yeah, I'm an adulterer and that's okay, God. So just accept me how I am. That's not how Christianity works. It's asking to repent for your sins and knowing that you're a sinner, knowing what your sins are and working on that.
Well, sure, but I mean, like that's part of the point of like welcoming those types of people into your church. It's like that whatever sins, whatever first, and also being gay in and of itself isn't necessarily a sin, right? Who you are is not a sin in the eyes of God. It's what you do. So a person could theoretically be gay and never have sex with a gay person, or I assume a gay person, and that wouldn't technically ever be a sin. But the more important part, and we can go to adulterers as well, because adulterers would also be welcome into any what I would consider to be any good Christian church. Not only would they be welcome, they'd be celebrated because you want these types of people to go in because you want them to be taking steps to get closer to God rather than to be alienated from the church and alienated from God. So like the idea that you would welcome these people in, you know, you can be a quote unquote non-offending gay person. You can go in and you can, and whatever problems you have are supposed to be between you and God. It's not for the rest of the church to judge you for. It's between you and God and, you know, whoever you go to for confessional. Yeah,
so I never said that they shouldn't be welcome in. Welcome to the church. I never said that. I was saying that they should be. I was saying that like, hey guys, we're all sinners. Let's, you know, like repent together. That's what I'm saying. My point is that the celebration of it is making that it's okay and that this lifestyle is okay and that lifestyle of sin is okay. That's not Christianity. Christianity is not saying that a lifestyle of sin is acceptable. It's saying that a lifestyle of sin, we're all sinners and we understand that, but we should be working towards not being sinners. And
it's possible. I guess I don't know. I've never in my life. What? Yeah, I would have to hear like a particular sermon. I've never in my life I've heard a lot of sermons from a lot of different preachers and pastors across a lot of different states, mainly Catholic, but I've never heard the idea like, oh, if you want to be gay and go on to be gay with people, then that's fine. Usually it's more like we separate the sin from the sinner, whatever sins you committed between you and God. We're only here to make sure that you stay as holy as you can. Like that's generally what I hear. I've never heard of any. I had black friends growing up that were Lutheran, and I never heard they talked about gay issues sometimes in their church, but never like, oh, it's okay to go and be gay and everything. I think usually just we welcome all types of people. But maybe you've heard a different sermon or different preachers than I have. But I've never heard that speak in like a Christian church. But
it's definitely in like the more liberal areas. But I know a lot of people who have experienced something like I'm not going to that church again. But and that's like whatever. I just don't think that having that on the sign is like something that Christianity should be doing. I think that celebrating degeneracy is just never positive, and I think that just shows the impact the left has had on Christianity, and I think that that's really sad. Progressive Christianity is not good, and that's not going to bring us closer to God. Look at our country. Do you think that the state of the world is right now? Do you think I don't know if you're still religious, but do you think that we are closer to God? Because I definitely do not think we are.
That's a deeply philosophical question. I'm not at all religious right now. I don't believe in like moral progress. I don't think that we're closer to God, but I don't think there was ever God to get close to. That's a way different question. However, I will say, as somebody that used to be Christian, one of the things that pushed me off of Christianity initially was how unchristian most Christians are. I don't know. And when you're not in agreement there, we don't agree on what that means, because the Republican Party or evangelicals in general resemble far more the Pharisees in the Bible than Jesus themselves. Like that is like probably the most consistent theme that I've seen throughout all of my experience with Christian communities in the United States. Almost ubiquitously, these would be the same type. Like if Jesus came back today, like I think that the average evangelical would call him a loser, progressive hippie fuck that was like being too soft on poor people, like 100%.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I definitely don't think that Jesus would be like, hey guys, let's put kids in drag queen hour. Let's do that, guy. I definitely do not think that he'd be sitting around drag queen hour.
Yeah, but like you're talking about drag queen hour. Who started that shit?
I have no idea.
Who started with the massive child pageants? Where did that come from? The dressing up little 4-year-old girls to be as ultra sexualized as possible.
So how is drag queen hour the same thing as a pageant? You lost me.
I think the pageantry stuff was like a massive over-sexualization of very, very, very young children. That stuff was crazy to me.
I definitely have never seen any of that pageant stuff. I never was into that. I know there was like some type of TV show about it. I don't really know. But I do think that that's kind of weird that they put like makeup on kids. It's pretty weird. But when I'm talking about drag queen hour, I think that's very different than a pageant. I think that drag queen hour is just degeneracy. A pageant is maybe a little bit of, not great. I don't know what goes into it. What do they do? Put makeup on and a dress?
Yeah, and like super doll up like very, very, very young girls.
I mean, it's like kids playing dress up. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't say. I don't really know. But I think that seeing a grown man like twerking, like dressed up as a woman, like drag queens is like very sexual. That's my problem with it. It's like it's a very, very sexual thing. Like the Pride Parade, super sexual. People walk around naked on the street in San Francisco, and there's children walking about.
Sure,
like,
and I think that a lot of this is kind of weird, but I think there's probably a lot of left-leaning people that would agree with you. I'm pretty left-leaning. I don't think I want my kid to go to like a thing where like guys are waving their dick around. That would make me really uncomfortable. And there's probably a lot of other left-leaning people that would say the exact same. Like I don't think that's that radical of a take. But again, like this is where I would say we should probably be careful not to define ourselves as the opposite of the most extreme people we can find on the left, because I think it just puts us in a really weird area. No.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that's extreme. Maybe it's that they're very loud. Like they're very loud, so it seems like it's a lot of people. It's how it feels sometimes. Definitely.
Sure, but like, don't you think it's like a little unfair when you're on your side, how you constantly appeal to like the silent majority, all these unheard Trump voters. But then on the left, it's like, well, I know that all of you are like this because one time I saw a video of a guy flopping his dick around in a pride parade. Like, I guarantee you, most progressive people have never been anywhere near a fucking pride parade, let alone be okay with like their children walking down the street with a guy flopping his dick around.
I don't know about that because. Yeah, I definitely know. I don't think that that's necessarily true because I've talked to a lot of leftists. All my friends, actually, like my closest friends, are leftists, and that's something that's different. I would say about me than maybe a lot of conservatives, or definitely a lot of leftists. That I surround myself with a lot of different people, like a lot of diversity in thought, and they're all very much like supportive of the current narrative, right? That like drag queen story hour is cool, like that pretty much anything that the left is like extreme on, they're like, okay, yeah, that's cool. We can't judge people. It's like
that could have been. Okay.
Like, I think that's pretty degenerate. I don't think we should be accepting that. But
Gotcha. I don't know where your friends come from because different communities obviously are way different. I do know that there's like a huge rift in thought between the insane people that exist online and on Twitter. And I'm not saying that's where your friends come from, but like if I were to poll like my friends that I know from streaming and from Twitter, the answers that they would give me for what's normalized is like way fucking different than people that I meet in real life. Like most people that I meet in real life, even trans people that I meet in real life, are typically way, way, way more moderated in their views than the loudest of the most insane people you see online. I think it's really important to recognize sometimes too.
Yeah, I do agree, but also they're from Texas, which is actually pretty funny.
Well, depending on where you're at in Texas, like if you're in Austin or
West Texas.
What?
West Texas. Like country.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's pretty funny, but I met them in college, so but yeah, I see where you're coming with that, but I think that at the end of the day, like I think it's kind of nonsense to be like, well, I'm a moderate or I'm a conservative or I'm a right winger, I'm a liberal, I'm a left. It's like, to me, in my eyes, I see it as there's the left and the right, and there's two narratives that are trying to be pushed against each other. And so it's like if you're a liberal, you're still voting most likely for the left and, you know, their extremely leftist policies and their narrative and pushing for that culture. So like it all ends up going the same way, even if you say you agree with it or not.
Well, I mean, I think it's really important to understand what we mean by like right or left, because it's not necessarily like that simple, right? Like there are left-leaning people, so like I would consider myself to be very left. However, I also am like very pro like gun rights, right? Or you might find some people that are on the right that are conservative, but they are you know, they're like pro-abortion or pro-choice or like anti whatever, right? So I mean, like you do run into this kind of diversity. I think if anything, if Trump showed us anything, it's that you can build a much broader conservative movement that doesn't have to look like one thing. And then even on the left, we've got people right now like AOC and Illinois, people that push very, very far to the left that fight with people like Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, or even more to the right, like the Mansions or the I don't remember that one lady's name, but yeah, like you see like even a diversity of people like in the political parties and the mainstream figures. So I mean, there's got to be like a pretty large diversity of people in the country that don't just fall neatly on like a left or right paradigm, no?
Yeah, I'm not saying they fall neatly there. I'm just saying that there's an Overton window theory that when you push something super extreme and you keep pushing and pushing, and the other side's like, hey, you know, I don't really agree, but all right, you keep going down this crazy extreme like road. And that's my point, is that if you're not going against that, like that crazy extreme on this side of the window, then you're gonna end up going like being a part of helping push it to more.
And
extreme.
I don't disagree, because there are some really extreme people on the left. I've been arguing recently. There's some people that say that like if you wouldn't be in a relationship with a trans person, for instance, you're transphobic. Yeah, you see like there's a lot of these things. But like just because I see people that give like an extreme take like that, I don't think means we have to go to the most extreme other side. Is all I'm saying. It feels like you're pretty far on the right in terms of a lot of these social issues, which isn't necessarily wrong. But I think it's kind of sad if you get over there just because you see people that are crazy on the left and you want to be as far away from them as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I definitely think that, I mean, it's important to like make sure that you're being understanding of both sides is definitely what I think that my point is I do understand a lot where people are coming from on the left. In my opinion, being a liberal and a leftist is very, very appealing because it's very accepted.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the 2020 rhetoric thing, he's being really nice. Which I'm a little bit conflicted about, actually. Because, I don't know, it feels like he's going kind of soft. But, I guess if he's really trying to change your mind, then this is how I would talk to like my grandpa or something, so makes sense. But yeah, I guess this is how you convince people. I don't know, it just kind of sucks for the audience because it feels like he's not going hard enough.
In our culture, you don't lose your job for being a leftist. I lost my job. I moved all the way to Chicago, and 2 months later lost my fashion job because I'm a conservative. So, you know, you don't have those worries, and you're praised for voting for Biden. All the celebrities can post, I voted for Biden, hee. And everyone's like, yes, queen. And you're like, I voted for Trump. And people are like, you're canceled, fuck you, you're a racist, you're a Nazi. So like, it's very appealing. And when you hear things at, you know, first sight, you're like, okay, cool, this sounds great. Let's be loving and accepting of everyone. And like, let's just let everyone do their own thing. But in reality, you can't just switch up your personality and your decisions into different people. You're one person as a whole. So what you do behind closed doors, what you do in private, it does affect how you interact in society, how you interact with other people, and the type of person that you are. And I think that the whole individualism of our country right now, I think that there's a good level of individualism that there should be. But right now it's like, you know, everything's about me, self-care, everything's about me. And I don't really have an effect on anyone. I don't have an effect on my country, my family, anything. And I think that that's a huge other problem where it's kind of making people feel alone and depressed. I mean, to me, it all connects in a circle. And to be quite frank, I think it all does connect back to leftism. So that's just,
I mean, like, so it feels like you bring up a lot of things that I agree with. I just feel like you went like so far off in the other direction that like it would be better if we didn't do that.
Sorry, yeah, I'm
like,
trying to connect because I have so many.
I understand, but it's like so like there are a lot of crazy people on the left that will literally call you like a Nazi if you post like a Blue Lives Matter thing. People will say like this person literally like worships Hitler, and that absolutely does happen, and that's absolutely crazy. But like, you know, growing up in the Midwest, if you are like outwardly a Democrat, like there are people that will give you a lot of shit for it. If you say certain things in public as a Democrat or a left-leaning person, there are people that will give you a lot of shit for it. You know, like depending on like I've been to a few of those conferences in Wisconsin. Now I was at the one before in Milwaukee, and I went to the one in Kenosha. You saw me there, right? Like depending on who you talk to and who's looking at you and you know what you're talking about, there are people that will treat you pretty differently, even for being a left-leaning person. I agree that the political divisiveness has gotten crazy in this country for a variety of reasons. I just don't think it's fair to blame it all on one side when Trump's rhetoric was so unbelievably divisive. Oh my God.
What do you not like about his rhetoric?
Everything. I mean, like, so
that's everything. Give me one example.
Okay. To be fair, your examples haven't been that great either. Okay. So the example that I generally point to the most is that anytime Trump talks, like a standard populist leader, he points out that every other person is the enemy. So Trump would constantly attack all the three-letter agencies. Trump would constantly attack the media. You are fake news. Trump would constantly attack the other party. Trump undermined like belief in our electoral system. You know, like Trump is on record making pretty shitty comments like shithole countries in the background. Trump saying things about like, you know, Mexico. Like I think that these comments, like we can go to like any one particular example you want, but like I think that compared to what?
Go ahead.
Compared to like Biden coming in and being like, listen, I'm not a Democrat president, I'm not a whatever, I'm a president for all Americans, you know, like we're gonna do everything together, like not trying to attack different governors just because they're Republican or Democrat. Like I think that type of behavior is way more befitting of a president than Trump's partisan games.
Well, I think that the difference between the left and the right is that the left is super, super obsessed with rhetoric, and the right is definitely more obsessed with action. And I think that, you know, Biden's like, hey, unity. What has Biden done? Tell me one good thing Biden has done.
Biden got one of the most aggressively targeted at poor people packages passed arguably in the history of the United States with just that coronavirus relief package. Some of the changes that were made to the tax code that might be codified permanently were unbelievably beneficial in regards to things like child poverty. Holy shit. I don't know if you file your own taxes, but if you want, I can walk you through. I don't know if you got a kid or not, but damn, some of the tax credits in there, the way that they made the child tax credit refundable, they boosted it from $2,000 to $3,600, and they made it so that you can get paid like or like in advance before you even file your taxes. Whew, there's a lot of amazing shit in that. And that's just in the coronavirus relief package. We haven't gotten to the infrastructure bill yet, which it's also a lot of crazy shit. So in terms of like what Biden has done, I think Biden has done like a pretty decent job so far, given the massive expectations that were set before him.
Ended 70,000 jobs. Okay.
Ended 70,000 jobs for what? Wait, what?
Ended the Keystone Pipeline. He said that he wouldn't ban fracking, and he did. So now we have to get our oil from.
Okay, hold on. Firstly, Biden has not banned fracking, and I don't care what any Democrat says. We're not banning fracking in the U.S. It's not going to happen.
Okay, he ended the Keystone Pipeline.
The Keystone Pipeline was already dead. Okay, the Keystone XL pipeline has been dead for a long time, and also.
How did that end 70,000 jobs? Because ending the Keystone Pipeline ended 70,000 jobs. Have you not seen the videos of people who found out that their job was ended on the day, and they're like, I can't pay my car payment and mortgage. This is the people.
First, the Keystone Pipeline might have had a lot of jobs in construction, but those weren't permanent jobs. And I know because this is supposed to be, we're supposed to talk about this in my panel, we didn't. There were like 36 permanent jobs that were going to happen as a result of that pipeline, the next extension. It was very, very, very low. You don't need a lot of people to run a pipeline. It's a fucking pipeline. So number one. Number two, the Keystone Pipeline is not the only pipeline we've lost. We've lost the Keystone Pipeline, we've lost the Dakota Pipeline, we lost that East Atlantic Pipeline. Like, pipelines are like politically very difficult to get through right now, and it's not just because of Biden. Like, Trump was losing at the Supreme Court on some of these pipelines before Biden ever came about. There's just like pipelines just I don't think are the way forward, and I don't think you can blame all that on Biden.
You probably want green energy, right?
I think generally, we all kind of want green energy. Who doesn't want to live in a cleaner environment? No?
Definitely don't think green energy is something that should be happening right now.
Why?
I think that we're doing fine. I don't want to get into the whole argument, but I think we're doing fine on that. I think that we should keep make a way to that, but to just immediately, okay, guys, green energy now. It's like we're doing fine right now.
But it's getting so cheap. It's like solar farms are getting cheaper than fucking natural gas right now. Like why would we wait for China to beat us on it? Why wouldn't we get ahead of the rest of the world on it?
I don't. It doesn't make sense because we're doing fine.
But it's not about doing fine. It's about doing fine in the future.
That's what I'm saying, though. I think we should make progress to go towards it in like 10 years. But they're like, okay, guys, let's just end Keystone Pipeline done, 70,000 jobs done. They are trying to ban fracking. I don't know what you're thinking because they are. Let me just read this list to you. Okay, so also he bombed Syria. Forgot about that. He bombed Syria.
Hold on. Wait. If you want to compare Syrian policies, so number one, Trump literally bombed a Syrian fucking airport. Okay, in response to attacks that happened. Okay, more chemical weapons. Okay, so number one. Number two, Trump literally had troops on the ground trying to run the fucking oil fields in northeast Syria that ISIS was running. Okay, to compare these activities. And number three, Trump also abandoned our Kurdish allies in Syria as well. Okay, so if you want to compare Trump's record on Syria to Biden, who selectively bombed with 0 civilian casualties. Iranian extremists in Syria. Compared to all of the actions Trump did, we can talk foreign policy any day of the week. This is the one area that I consider myself to be really well informed in. You are not going to find like a lot of criticism of Biden in terms of how he's treated Syria versus Trump. That's an argument that will never be won on the Trump side. I'm sorry, there's no possible way. But
okay, so you talk about soldiers. So how do you feel about him making 5,000 soldiers sleep on the concrete garage, having one bathroom after they protected him for his inauguration because he had to have a lot of soldiers around to get inaugurated, just like a good old communist country. What do you think about that?
I don't know about this particular story. I mean, I could go and look it up. If that's what happened, I guess that sucks. But I know that I watched Donald Trump for a photo op move a bunch of soldiers out into, was it Lafayette Square, and start tear gassing protesters away so they hold up a Bible that he's never read his entire life for a photo opportunity. I mean, I don't think that Biden loses on that end either, but...
I think that's a little bit different than having 5,000 people, shoved into a parking garage, freezing, 40-degree temperature, one bathroom. Anyways,
do you think the reason why they were there might have been because people were really concerned about the almost like coup that happened on the 6th of January?
Oh my God, the 6th of January. I'm so tired of hearing about the 6th of January.
I mean, I would be too if I was conservative because it makes kind of puts your stuff in a really bad light, no?
What about the 18 months of rioting? What about the 18 months of destroying businesses? What about the 18 months of causing $1 billion in damage to our country? What about the hundreds of thousands of businesses destroyed? How about that? How about talk about that? Oh no, but the FBI is so worried. They're so worried about the grandmas who broke into the Capitol and were holding a podium and taking pictures. Oh man, that's so sad. What terrorists?
So the nice thing about not being super partisan is we can criticize both, right? I don't think that the riots were okay. I expect you don't know much about my history, but I got in a lot of trouble for saying so. Okay, I don't believe that the riots were okay. However, just because the riots weren't okay, the source of where those riots came from and the ways that was dealt with by the Democratic Party were way, way, way different than where the Capitol riots came from and how the Republican Party instigated that.
No, so I think, I think the motive behind riots is, like, I understand. Listen, I got sucked into BLM. That's a whole other story I can talk about. But I understand that people are upset. The problem is when the media, we can get into BLM, the media is pushing a false narrative to you and you're being told, that you can't amount to anything and that if you get pulled over, there's a 50% chance that you're going to get shot. Yeah, I'd be a little pissed. Sad fact is that that's not reality. And then you go into, the whole January 6th. The reason why those people did that, first off, they didn't, sorry, my dog, they didn't kill anyone. The whole thing with the police officer actually had a stroke. So I don't know what they were trying to spin with that. Secondly, sorry, secondly, with the reasoning behind that is because people have been getting censored. Okay, people have been getting just completely pushed over by the leftist party that they were pissed off and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna stand up for my beliefs and we're just gonna barge in here. Did they kill anyone? No. Did they light shit on fire? No. They held podiums and took a photo. I think it's a lot different, especially the outcome. Like you want to compare, I think comparing the outcome is probably more important than comparing the root of the cause or like the way people felt.
The root cause is scary to me because, and I am very critical when I see Democrats doing things that I think would instigate violence. I think that's really bad. And much the same. You have the actual president of the United States himself creating and fostering the conditions necessary for people to like think that our election was hijacked with no evidence, to think that like people need to rise up. Well, it lost in every single court case.
And they did that because they were afraid of the outcome. They were. I mean, that's not really.
Okay, so here's like another. So I use this word a lot. I'm sorry, because I talk about all the dumb things. So when I say epistemic, I'm saying like I'm talking about like how do we know what really is what it is? Okay, like so I have an epistemic question for you. Something that always feels a little bit scary. So there's a personal problem that I have that I get worried about because I spend a lot of time in left-leaning circles. I talk a lot of politics online. I'm always like really afraid that like what if I'm totally wrong about everything and I find out like in 10 years like I've been hoodwinked. I've been like, oh my god, like I totally missed this thing. I didn't see it was right in front of me. One thing that I notice when I talk to a lot of like very right-leaning conservatives is you kind of constructed this entire world where nothing that is ever presented to you will ever convince you otherwise because there's always going to be a reason for it. So if I were to demonstrate for you, well, here's a study that says that voter fraud didn't happen, you would say the studies were rigged. If I were to show you, well, here's every single mainstream media publication that's trying to find information about it, you would say, well, the mainstream media is all in bed with each other. If I were to show you, well, here are all of these federal judges that half of these were Trump picks themselves, you would say, well, the judges were too scared to give a fair ruling. If I were to point to you Trump's own Secretary of State, William Barr, and him coming out with collaboration with all of our intel agencies saying, nope, nothing wrong here. The FBI got the machines themselves. They checked them over, nothing bad. You would say, well, it's because the three other agencies are compromised. Do you ever worry that like you're like so lost in the conspiracy about it? There's nothing. Like what would change your mind? What piece of evidence would you need to demonstrate that the election stuff wasn't fraudulent, that Biden actually won fair and square?
I mean, that's a good question. I definitely don't think I would be like, oh my gosh, this is, crazy that it didn't happen. I'm definitely not one of those people who like is really obsessed with that. But I do know that there are people and like people who have been studying these things who have, completely argued the opposite, that this has been like an election fraud. And with the whole Dominion voting machines, I know you probably don't like Mike Lindell, but he has a whole, he got a hold of one of the Dominion voting machines, and he has a whole entire documentary about it. But anyway, so I think my problem with the whole, what about these sources and this sources? It's like, okay, I also can have sources to combat your sources. So then like at the end of the day, what do we use? In my opinion, common sense. Like,
well, but so to be clear though, because a lot of people will say this, like, well, you can find sources for everything. That's not really true. You can find like a single person saying everything, but I can show you a consensus among government intelligence agencies, a consensus among investigative media, and a consensus among all of the federal court cases that like 99.999% all say like no voter fraud. I'm sure you can find like the MyPillow guy or like one or two people that are like, oh, there might have been voter fraud. Like, I don't think that just being able to point to one person should be enough to give you so much pause. You're like, oh, okay, well, actually, I'm questioning the official narrative on this now. It might all be fake, right? Because at that level, we could literally be skeptical about anything that's ever happened in history. Like I could be skeptical about my own existence. Or I could be skeptical about whether or not cars actually work and there's not magnets beneath the street that move everything. Like we could be skeptical about literally everything. So I feel like it's really important to ask is like, well, what would it take? Because if all of these people in unison have all said, like there was no voter fraud, it seems like there's literally nothing that could move your mind on it. Like there's nothing that could actually change your mind on what it would take to move you off that idea that, okay, well, maybe Biden won fair and square.
Yeah, I mean, it's also hard too, because like whenever you go, I mean, I know this obviously is not like proof of anything, but I guess it's hard as well when, you go on like on YouTube and you're watching like a press conference and it gets no views and it gets all thumbs downs and then they have to completely take the likes off and like all this kind of stuff. And then they're making people follow the White House Instagram. It's like things like that. It makes you like be skeptical because you're like, okay, well, why, are you getting like, no one cares what you have to say. No one likes what you have to say. And then you're forcing people to follow you. It's like a little bit suspicious.
Don't you think that, so like we can say that might be the case, but like there's so much collaboration that would be required for this. Like so many different people in so many different parties would have to be working in unison. And not only are all of these people working together in order to make it so this isn't revealed, you're getting no leaks, you're getting no like, smoking guns. Well, but we haven't gotten like the killer, like, oh my God, like this is crazy that everyone else around the world, because you also have to keep in mind that if this was the case, if what you're saying happened, it would be the biggest 20 times Pulitzer Prize story to ever break in the history of the entire world. Like there would be no more sensational story in the world's history than massive corruption.
More drink. Okay. We're good?
Of a U.S. election. It would be a historic event.
Yeah, I disagree. They won't let it out. They won't air it. That's definitely not. There's no way.
But do you understand? Do you understand? Okay, do you understand how crazy it is that you're telling me that we got the truth from Project Veritas because some horny guy revealed it to his Tinder date, but nobody else leaked anything? Like, really?
Okay, so let me give you an example. What do you mean no one else leaked? Okay, I mean, Like, no one else went on the Tinder date. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying that, like, if it was that easy to get one guy, that the lady's like, I'll send you fucking pics of my feet if you fucking tell me if CNN is showing propaganda. She got that one guy, but nobody else. Everyone else is rocks. Just that one dude that fucked it all up for everybody. Like, come on, you would imagine there'd be so much more information leaking if this was actually the case, right?
Definitely not. No, I mean, like, everyone gets censored. I mean, they're not going to air something like that. There's no way. I mean, you can see videos of every single mainstream outlet, and they all say the same exact thing. Like, that's the thing.
What if it's like, what if
every single?
Okay, I know exactly what video she's talking about. She's so wrong. Oh, here, let me use also the exact same argument. Ready? Oh my God. Today on MSNBC and CNN was saying that 2 + 2 = 4, and then I switched to MSNBC and they said 2 + 2 = 4, and then I said, whoa, what's happening? And I switched to Fox News and they said 2 + 2 = 4, and that's when I knew everything was corrupt.
It's like, that's common sense. You look at it, you look at the TV, you see like a gajillion different outlets, and they're all saying the same exact thing.
But what if they're all saying the same exact thing because that's just what happened? Like, wouldn't that just be such a simpler explanation? That, like, okay, well, maybe this is the case, and that's why they're all saying the same thing.
It's not necessarily about a story per se. It's like, you know, there's been people who have said up on the news where it's like, you know, they're trying to tell you how to think, and that's our job. Like, there's people who say things like that. I mean, it's not like saying that they're, you know, telling a story that happened like that night. It's they're just talking randomly about something that's not really a story. If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it depends on, like, are we watching like a news broadcast covering something, or are we watching like a pundit? Because those are going to be way different, right? Like, even love them or hate them, and this might even trigger people. I say like Fox News' reporting is going to be okay. Like, if you watch like Fox just reporting on an incident, like, it's probably going to be pretty accurate. Same thing with CNN, MSNBC. But there's going to be a big difference between like Fox or CNN reporting on something versus like, now here's the news with Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity for an hour, or like here's the news with Anderson Cooper or whatever. Like, now these are going to be way different. Now we're into punditry, right? It's going to look way different than just the actual reporting.
Okay, can I give you an example?
Yeah.
So this is a huge story, right? That should break, and that this is something that everyone should be talking about. And if we want to go by that theory, then this is something that that everyone's talking about. Well, you know, my boyfriend's uncle has Hunter Biden's laptop, a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. All right. Lots of evidence of, you know, him doing crack cocaine, him sex tapes,
Wait,
crazy,
crack cocaine and
crazy
sex tapes. None of this has anything to do with anything. But go ahead.
So him talking to the president about the reason why he basically said, Joe, Dad, you need to run for president so my image can be saved. Like, there's lots of different, I can go on and on and on. There's a lot more things that weren't actually exposed. The thing is, you know, people were taking that down. I posted about it.
She has it, dude. She has the laptop. Oh my God. Bro, this is crazy. She has it. She has the laptop. The one that all the guys were talking about earlier. She has the laptop. She has the laptop. I sincerely hope she just leaks it all, dude. She has the laptop. Or like, it's like a copy of it. She probably found it off like 4chan or something stupid like that.
I posted screenshots of things in my Instagram.
Oh no, bro, it's her uncle. Never mind. Her uncle went on 4chan and found it.
And was taken down 10 minutes later. So that's why I don't necessarily trust. You know, there's a big story because everyone's going to want to know. No, they actually censor things like that. They censor things that when they're trying to protect big figures. You know, I've experienced this firsthand, and I had someone like close to me who literally has a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop, has been targeted by the actual FBI.
Literally,
and if you don't, and that's why people like to say conspiracy theory, this and that. It's like, okay, well, you can either call me conspiracy theorist, or it's called common sense, or it's called like lived experience of, you know, this guy who had Hunter Biden's laptop. He called the FBI because he found really bad things on it, like very, very, very illegal, bad things with China and Russia. He was dealing with doing bad things. Called the FBI, and they told him, you better not say a word about this. Never did anything about it. So he had copies of the laptop.
I'm just going to say, so as somebody that's like a semi-public figure, if this is true, you can tell him to send me like an image of the disc, and I'll publish whatever I can. I don't believe this. I don't think this is true. Whatever he has, if you send me this crazy shit, like, I'll talk about it or publish it if it's really like that crazy. And then if the FBI, I've already talked to the FBI 3 times because people calling the FBI on me, so they're already going to file on me. So if we want to go that way, we can. But I don't believe that there are all of these, like...
Well, there is a Daily Mail article out about it from the UK. So that's the one thing that happened, is a Daily Mail article was published. Hunter Biden's laptop. Don't know if it's still up. But that's what I'm saying. So it's like to make the claim that, oh, everyone's going to talk about it. It's like, that's not necessarily the case, especially when they're trying to cover someone. And to be naive and to say that, you know, that the government has your best interest in mind, and that the mainstream media has your best interest in mind when you've seen things like this firsthand. It's
clear,
like,
I don't think they have our best interest in mind. I think they just want to make money. But like, if you have like a sensational story like that, you're going to publish it because you know you're going to make money doing it. That's
no, but he called Fox. Fox wouldn't even publish it.
That's probably because it's not real. I don't think they're like this whole
Bro,
story.
I know him. He has the laptop. Like, what do you mean?
I don't think he has. So just like, let's just think about this story. So Hunter Biden,
bro, she has like, come on, she has it. She has the laptop. It's over. This is it. We don't need to watch the next whatever. She wins. Her uncle has the laptop, guys. We don't need to finish this video. It's over. Okay, yeah, good night. All right, we're ending the stream there, and I need to go live in the shack in the woods because everyone's corrupt.
who's working with Hunter Biden, who's working with like the crazy like Biden presidency, the Obama presidency, doing all this crazy shit, goes to like the fucking like the local geek squad to turn in his laptop and forgets it. Like, do you really think that this is?
Here, do you want to see some photos? I can show you some photos right now of Hunter Biden
of
and
his dick or what? I don't know. I want to see.
No, it's literally Hunter Biden and okay, here's one. Hunter Biden, hi. We also have here, hold up. That's him and his dad. That was on his phone or on his laptop, whatever.
Okay.
There's a text message here. Okay, hold on, I'm not done. Here's this.
Okay, wait, careful! I can't show any like sexual shit. Just be careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to get to his meth teeth. Hold up.
Sure. Well, hold on. I don't want. I don't just see. Okay, gotcha. But like the thing is that like we don't have proof that any of this came from any secret laptop, right? Like these could literally just be.
No, like these, bro. I'm telling. This is my thing. It's like. It's so perfectly fine for you to be questionable about something that, you know, I'm saying, but it's like whenever I'm questionable about something that someone else is saying that I'm a conspiracy theorist. Like it's photos, evidence, and screenshots evidence, and I know the person who has a copy of
the
laptop.
We don't know if those came from a secret laptop, right? These photos could have come from an iCloud. These photos could have come from literally anything. And then also, why is it that if we have all this juicy information about it, why are we posting his fucking sex tapes? Why not like actually post like some crazy, interesting, like conspiratorial stuff rather than just like Biden talked to his dad and his dad said he loved him and he would help him if he could. Like,
okay, first off, they tried to do that, but the thing is, there's a lot of bad things on here that they can't publish. And so what he did,
what?
so this, okay. I don't know all the information. I know there's a lot of bad things when it comes to like pornography and stuff, and like things with China and Russia.
My uncle has a laptop, by the
So
way.
his name is Jack Maxey, my boyfriend's uncle. You want to look him up? You can. He had a Twitter account where he was posting screenshots of everything, and he got banned. So like this is the thing. It's like
so you think that of all the photos you just showed me, those all came from like his laptop or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have time to go dig around all this because oh my god, there's so many other things I'd rather do with my time. But like those photos of his teeth, for instance, these were out in 2011. Like here's a link to like, or I'm sorry, 2020. Whoa, hold on, chill. These are way too spicy for stream.
Damn, had me trouble a little there too. Whew. She's just whew. Boy.
Or I'm sorry, not 2011, but these are photos that came out from like that they were already leaked, like that weren't necessarily on
I don't know if this article is like, you know, exactly correct because I don't have the photos that he was posting on Twitter. But I'm just saying that this is a story because of the fact that these people, there's multiple copies of the laptop. The guy felt like weird whenever the FBI came and were like being really weird to him, so he copied the laptop. That's it.
Sure. Why did none of the intelligence agencies like go in on any of this?
I don't know. Apparently he called the FBI and they came in and they were like, you better keep your mouth shut about this.
Well, like let's think about that. Let's follow that. So like why is it that an intelligence agency that has Trump's own appointees at the head of these, why are they not doing anything about it?
I don't know, because they protect his image. I don't know.
Why would they care about protecting his image more than the president's, than Trump, who appointed like the heads of these agencies?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not going to pretend like I do. That's the thing, is like I'm not going to be like, oh, this is the reason why. I don't know. All I know is the fact that I know this person and he's not lying. He's actually afraid for his life. So like, I don't know, you know, how that's the thing with like the Project Veritas thing. Like, why I don't trust anything that's 15-minute clip. Sure, whatever. But he said, you can't fake what the guy said. He said that CNN engages in propaganda. Like, what else more do you need? Like, he said that.
Like on one end, I have a mountain of, well, I'll say common sense and a plethora of other evidence, and then on the other end, I have a guy that has a Tinder date of a tech guy that says CNN puts out propaganda. Like, why would I believe just like one random thing? Like,
I'm not saying you have to like believe it firsthand. I'm just saying to be like, it's a conspiracy theory. It's like, okay, can we look into it? Can we like get to the root of the problem? Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, conspiracy theory and those conservatives again. It's like, let's look into it. It doesn't have to always be a conspiracy theory.
Sure, but even if I say it's not like even if I say it's not a conspiracy theory in like the insulting way, and I just call it a conspiracy, like this is a conspiracy that involves so many people, tens of thousands of people. How can they all get away with it? Doesn't that like, I'm just curious, like internally, does that not bother you? Like the thought that this would require like the interactions of like thousands and thousands of people, tens of thousands of employees and academics and.
No, bro, I don't think that tens of thousands of people are aware of what's happening. I think there's a lot of people who just do their job and they show up to work, and the people who tell them to say what they want to say, like, okay, I say what I'm going to say. Like, I don't think that everyone knows what's up. Like, sure. I definitely.
And I don't disagree with you for that. That's probably the case. But if that's the case, then why would this random tech guy that this girlfriend on Tinder know anything? Like,
I don't know.
Okay, well, like, because if it's gotten down to that level, then everybody probably knows it at that point, right?
Well, I think too, it's like, you know, they're pretty out and open about it. I mean, I don't think that it's a lot of their stories have been debunked. If you want to say that, you know, Project Veritas, that if you just go through and vet them, that they're all wrong and whatever, it's like you can do a lot of same thing with CNN, and they have to go. And a lot of the times, years later, once they actually like have enough evidence against them, they have to go back and retract so many statements. They do that with Trump a lot. Like
with what? You know, what do you mean?
I had to go. I don't know which exact articles or stories, but I know they had to go back and retract some things because they got them incorrect.
Bro, we need to take off the attempt counter and just put up how many times she goes, well, I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, like I don't know exactly, but like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Or like Uncle Counter. That'd be a good one too. Like, I know him, dude. Like, I know the guy. We're gonna remove attempt counter. It's gonna go. I'm sorry. This is funny. I want to get the infrared one after this. I think that'd be really juicy. Because infrared is really funny. Infrared is super funny. I might also, I kind of want to jump on Discord as well. Chill, all the boys are there. I don't know. We'll see.
because they do that. I mean, 98% of like CNN or 98% of news coverage on Trump was negative. Like, come on. I mean, it was crazy. Talk about conspiracy theory.
I mean, how much of Trump's coverage on Fox News was positive? Like, conversely, like obviously these people play into their political bases a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think people were still critical of him though.
There was a lot of stuff to be critical about Trump about, of course.
There's a lot of rhinos as well, though. That's a lot of people.
So yeah, I understand. So initially, I said that like if all of academia, if all the judges, if everybody was in coordination. Now you're telling me even certain Republicans can't be trusted. You're not worried at all? You've like what?
For sure.
So this is like, so if we were having like if I was having like a conversation in a vacuum with you where we both came to this conversation with no political leanings and I wasn't trying to be biased or blah, blah, blah. If I were to talk to you about, I don't want to use the F word. I don't want to use the fascist word. Okay. But like, if I were to talk to you about an extremist nationalist, an extremist authoritarian wannabe nationalist, okay, who was hell bent on getting control of a country, I would tell you that the way that they do this is by selling themselves as the only strong leader. And they would tell you that every other institution is around them is corrupt. They would tell you that the other political party for sure is corrupt and that anybody in their own party that wasn't alongside them is also corrupt. This would be how a person would gain control of like the political arena, like by saying these things. Like, do you not see that as being like so obvious that like, okay, well maybe it's a little bit weird if somebody is literally like for instance, if I was trying to be abusive to somebody, this is what I would start doing. You'd say like, listen, all of your friends are lying to you. Your mom and dad don't know what's good for you. I'm the only one that knows. Come live with me. Don't talk to any of their friends. Don't trust anybody. They're all lying to you. Just listen to me. I'll give you all the information you need. Right? Like this is like abuse 101 or fascism 101. Like this mentality is what it is.
I think, well, firstly, if he was actually a fascist, he'd still be in power. Okay. Secondly, so I think it's kind of ridiculous. Secondly, I don't think he was like, don't trust anyone. But there's a lot of
who did Trump tell you to trust?
Okay, let me.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There's a lot of modern conservatives, I guess you could say, and the whole thing is drain the swamp, like we call them rhinos. There's a lot of people who we don't trust, and a lot of people who have like sold out the American people for 50 plus years, and so there's a big issue in our country, and that's what modern day conservatism is to conserve what our country used to be, and to conserve the ideals that our country used to hold to be important. And so now we have all this degeneracy going back to that. That's why we're trying to like move away from that. But when it comes to Trump, I think that he definitely wasn't like don't trust anyone. He did have like people by his side that he really did trust.
Wait, like who?
I mean, he loved Pence until that whole thing.
Exactly. So he liked Pence, and then he said that Pence was a backstabbing traitor who couldn't be there from the end. He also liked Cohen. He also liked Giuliani. He also liked William Barr. He also liked Jeff Sessions. He also like every single person that Trump liked. He turned on. He also liked his ex-wives until he divorced them. He liked Steve Bannon. He liked everybody until he even turned on Fox at the end. He said Fox was your enemy as well. Yeah. So was there anybody? Was there anybody at the end?
Yes, there were people at the end, but the thing is, people. Okay, who? Going back to the whole Fox. Okay, let me finish.
Who did Trump like at the end? He hated everybody. Go ahead.
I think he liked the people that were close to him. I don't know his life, but like I'm sure he felt betrayed. Like I think he really did think that they were going to stand up for him, and they did.
Literally just his family. Is that it? He just had his family by the end. Okay, cool story, bro.
But I mean, he's a human as well. Like I don't know. Well, he probably shouldn't be as vocal. Whatever. I personally, if I was the president, I'd be very vocal. So like I relate to that. But going back to the whole like Fox News thing. Sorry, it's been like 2 hours of talking. I'm starting to get tired.
Yeah,
yeah, Fox News. So
it had been like
no one liked Fox News. People were so pissed when I forget what made it. I forget what it was, but I remember it happening. And my grandma was like a huge Fox News watcher, and they were like, "Oh no, we got to go to Newsmax now." I think it's because they were basically saying that there wasn't like election fraud, and everyone was so pissed about it. And here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Then, along with the entire rest of the United States, including all the judges,
here's the thing. Okay, I'm not gonna be outwardly like, okay, the 100%, the election was 100% fraud. Okay, but my thing is that I question things. I'm going to be questionable to things, and I think it's important to be questionable on all sides. And like, definitely questionable. I'm questionable of questioning Fox, and a lot of those people too, because I think the American people are really tired of being lied to. They're really tired of, them not getting anything in return for supporting politicians. And I think that Trump is the person who brought that to light and drained the swamp. And he did expose a lot of people. And I think people were really happy about that.
Half of those people were his own people, his own appointees.
Good.
Like, how is that good? He's draining his own. He's filling the swamp and draining it at the same time.
Good. That's the thing. Like so if you're a fuck up and you're a bad person, bye. Like so and you're doing illegal. I mean, you're doing legal things. Not you're a bad person. You're doing something illegal. But
wait, she just gave the cancel culture take. She literally just said. I can't do it. I can't. Oh no. I don't know how he talks to this person. Every time I watch one of these, I just feel so much more confident in my own opinions. Because if I was with this girl, I could totally handle myself. God damn. She's just. Whew.
I mean, that's why people loved him. People don't care about optics. People do care, but people on the conservative side, they got tired of optics. They got tired of politicians saying that we're going to make your life great. A lot of freaking black people are tired of Democrats saying that we're going to make your life better, and they don't. They actually make it worse. I mean, it's exhausting year after year after year. And so I think that's why there's a lot of distrust in the country. And the government and media when Trump came along and was like, you know what, I'm going to expose these people. I mean, he exposed a lot of things. And I think that a lot of people were happy about that and excited by that. And they got energy off that. And they felt like their voice was being heard. And that's why people love him. And I know a lot of people like to compare him to Hitler and to fascists, whatever. But I think that it's a gross misinterpretation.
I agree. I'm not trying to compare him to Hitler, fascists, or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, I don't understand how it doesn't make you, like, at least a little bit kind of sort of uncomfortable that by the end of his run, Trump literally was telling you that every single organization, every single entity, everything was the enemy. Like, at some point, do not turn around and think like, okay, maybe this guy is the problem. If literally every single other thing, all the media, all the courts, all the institutions, everyone else in the government, like all the intelligence agencies, like every other country, everyone else is the enemy. Like,
yeah, I think you also don't really know too much about me. Like, I definitely did turn on Trump, and I got sucked into BLM and that whole movement when George Floyd died and all that for like a few months. And that's a whole other story when I can talk more like personal anecdotal evidence. It's getting kind of late, but I did get sucked into BLM and all that stuff by seeing the 10-second clips of all of BLM riots and everything. And so like to be like, oh, you don't question things. I think a lot of conservatives question both sides as well. But at the end of the day, I mean, I resort to my common sense and like the data and statistics that I've researched. And whenever I look at data and statistics and information and studies, whatever, I don't look at things that are incomplete. I don't look at things that are pushing a narrative. Like, that's just not something that's beneficial. And I tend to go towards something that's, more morally sound, me personally, especially as a Christian. And so obviously, like, I know that people want to argue that being, Christian, you can't, it's not really a fact. You can't be like, oh, this is a fact because I'm a Christian. I get that, but that's my personal belief, and that is Christian values is what our country is founded on. So I think it's crazy how far we've gotten with that.
That's a lot of movement at the end.
It's true.
Well, no, our country was explicitly founded as an a-religious country. We're explicitly not religious, right?
No.
Then why is it that our founding fathers, who were so meticulous in their drafting of the Constitution, and they even made a Bill of Rights that arguably we didn't need the Bill of Rights. They even went in forth and they even handcrafted 10 amendments to our Constitution, make things so explicitly spelled out. Why did they include Christianity anywhere in any of that?
I mean, because they wanted everyone to have the freedom to choose what religion they practice.
Sure. So our foundation, well, I will tell you, as somebody that was devoutly Catholic, who knows the Ten Commandments, there is no room in the Ten Commandments for another God. So that is a very un-Christian idea that you can choose your own religion, right?
What? You have free will. God does not force you to be a Christian. What are you saying?
Well, there's not the first commandment is literally you cannot. I don't remember word for word. It's like you cannot take the name of any other lord as your Lord or whatever, and then no other God serve before you, whatever, right?
I can recognize other religions, and I can respect other religions. We have the freedom. We have free will, and that's the biggest blessing God gave us. And that is.
This is what I despise about religious people, dude. They literally are like, this is what they believe, and all this crazy stuff, and then also they're just like, yeah, but if you believe in a different God, it's like no big deal. Like, in theory, by that logic, you were literally just okay with like 2/3 of the, or like 75% of the entire population of Earth just spending the rest of their life like burning, or like spending all eternity like burning. And it's just like, yeah, it's whatever. People can do what they want. Shouldn't you be making that like legislation if you unironically believe in this garbage? Oh.
Why God is so great, and that's
well, yeah, but then it's kind of weird to say that we're a Christian country if we have room for other, like, if we're a Christian country.
I said we're founded on Christian beliefs.
But we're not. It's our government is secular. Like, there is no Christianity baked into the government anymore. It's a very secular government. There's no mention of religion or religions, a particular religion. There's like laws against like recognizing a state religion. Like,
the commandments are looked at as a God-given right. That's the whole like foundation of it.
That's great, but the commandments have nothing to do with our legal system.
Okay, sure, but it's like purpose is to serve that. Though.
Okay, sure.
Purpose is to
no, it's not. It's absolutely not.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Where? It's not illegal to commit adultery, right? It's not illegal to make graven images of the Lord. It's not illegal to take the Lord's name in vain. It's not illegal to have another.
I'm not saying that like that we all follow the Bible. I'm saying that like we're founded on Christian beliefs and the fact that we have free will. That's like a huge Christian belief that you have free will to make your own decisions. Like that is.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying
huge.
I don't know where in our country we have the idea that it's a Christian nation. I just don't think that's.
I don't know about the free will thing. I have never looked at that argument super well, like on a philosophy level. I imagine it would take me a good half an hour to think about. I've never bothered to do it. And also, my mind would change quite a bit probably. It's like new facts that I didn't think about previously came up. So it would be something that I would develop over time, but I'll have to think about that later.
I mean, I definitely. I guess it's like your own personal opinion, right? We can't.
Well,
really,
it's not but we read opinions of founding fathers that literally. Who was the guy that literally made like, I don't remember, was it? Fuck, I don't even remember which one it was. Who had like his own like atheist Bible or whatever, or like a Bible that had all the religious aspects removed. Was it Jefferson? People saying, yeah, like the idea that this is a Christian age is absolutely not true. It's not in any of the writings anywhere. It's not in any of the law. It's not codified in any of the like.
Yeah, like.
It's just. I mean, it's not a Christian nation.
People try to like meme on like Muslim countries for like Sharia law or whatever, but like if they actually believe in that, you should absolutely make that law. Like if that was actually true, that should be law instantly. Those guys are the most based. These two conservatives in the U.S. who just allowing everyone to die. It's crazy. It's crazy, dude.
It's just not the case. A lot of people might be Christians or some sect of Christianity or whatever, but
just disagree.
Well, I mean, you would be wrong, but okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to go over? I don't want to keep you about that.
No, I'm getting really tired, dude. But I appreciate the chat. Also, I want to bring it back to the Project Veritas thing. Okay, can we kind of get on the same wavelength that we're like, we got to at least look at something before we call it a conspiracy?
I agree. I love looking at Project Veritas. It's easy content for me because I can just laugh at how horrible all the reporting this shit is over and over again. What do you think about the video they posted about the Washington Post guy, where they intentionally cut like it to 1 minute and then WAPO posted the full video? Did you see that at all, or?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
If they're big stories.
So if you go down like if we were to go down the Wikipedia of all the Project Veritas stuff, I would recommend, we don't have to do this now, but like take a look at it sometime, because like my opinion on Veritas before I started hardcore researching them was like, you know, they probably published some bullshit, they're probably a little bit biased, but I'm sure that they like have uncovered some things. And god damn, dude, every single major thing they've been involved in has been utter horseshit. If you're ever bored sometime, and if you don't trust Wikipedia, you can click through the links or do your own research, as conservatives like to say. But man, that is a company with an impressively horrible track record. I would just say look it up sometime. But
I mean, yeah, did you just use Wikipedia?
Sure, why?
That's funny. No, but I'm pretty sure that James O'Keefe has like won every court case he's been in when it comes to things like that. So I don't really know. Like,
James O'Keefe is so this is like a really common Veritas talking point. Like he's gotten like minor changes in details or whatever, but he's never gotten like an authentic retraction from like any substantive matter from any media corporation ever. It's never ever happened. They've gotten some things where they've like gotten a name wrong or something, and they've had to change like some part of a story or whatever, but nothing substantial. That's never ever happened before. That just isn't. This is not the case. If you ever find anything, though, you can always shoot it to me. But Veritas likes to claim all the time. O'Keefe will say like, oh well, I've gotten over 300 retractions from media, and it'll be like they got like a date wrong by a day or something like that. Also, Veritas has never retracted anything ever when they've gotten called out for making bad reports, which is another reason why I like organizations over individuals, because organizations are generally held more accountable. Because when people
he has an organization, he has people who work for him, and it's kind of getting to be a big company. I wouldn't say he's just a person. Like,
well, but it's him at the end of the day. Like Project Veritas doesn't survive without O'Keefe, right? Like if he leaves, that whole organization falls, most likely.
I don't know, because like when I was interviewing with them, there was quite a few departments. There was probably like 50 to 100 employees, I feel like. Who knows though?
So
I don't know, my brain's getting a little tired.
Okay.
Been a long day. But it was good to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the conversation. Have fun. Be careful. Peace out. Remember to hit that like, subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos.
I'm telling you that CNN. I don't know about that. Oh.
I'm sorry, you're not a debater though?
Okay, I don't know what that clip at the end was.
Hello?
It's infrared.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, man. So, Destiny, I saw your Richard Wolf debate, and I got to tell you, you got to take the L on that. If you're an honest guy, you got to take the L. You really lost that one. And you were wrong on a point, and I feel like it's my responsibility to come in here and correct you on that point, because you were absolutely wrong about it.
Oh, my God. What point is that?
Fiduciary responsibility. Dude, you didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh, no. What was I wrong about for that?
You were saying that fiduciary responsibility means companies have to adopt a specific model for how they organize their workplace, and it's patently not true.
Don't tell me. Okay, no, this is embedded within Twitch. Just don't tell me he took the .gg thing as well. That would have been... Oh. Okay, he didn't. I love the 2036 the Gorilla Sons. It's awesome, dude. They're so brain dead, all of them. Every single infrared. If you ever find an intelligent infrared fan, shout them out. I was on infrared once. I got on, and it was so funny to talk to him. He's so brain dead. Oh, I tried to be like a little bit more civil, like talk to him person to person. Like every single like study or point I tried to bring up, he'd be like, "No, bro, it's just like, yeah, but like, look at this other thing. Like, I'm not gonna acknowledge your thing. I don't have time to look over it. Like, whatever." And they got banned because some other guy that same day did something stupid, so he got banned. So now that video will never be up. But just know, Superior Snivy destroyed infrared. True story.
Okay, I didn't say that. So fiduciary responsibility means that you have an obligation to act in good faith, the best interest of the company.
Yeah. And by the way, in law they call that it's not a bright line rule, which means it's dictated by common law, it's by court precedent. And courts are not going to say, oh, you run a co-op, then you're abdicating on your fiduciary responsibility. And Richard Wolff tried to say that to you, and then you brought up the Holodomor or something, or famines. It didn't make any sense to me.
Okay. None of what you just said makes sense.
Yeah. He said there's been thousands of cases in the courts, and all you have to do is show that you made a good faith effort, and that will be interpreted vaguely. They're not going to be like, oh, well, since co-ops are an inferior model to running it in another way, it's no longer going to be good faith. No, they're going to say that was your good faith effort. And another thing you overlooked is the fact.
Wait. Let's do one thing at a time. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about investing. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say that I want to put my money into a company. All right. So there's two types of companies that I could put my money into. Now I know there's a lot more. I'm just simplifying things.
I gotta speed this up.
So I have one company that has other private investors that all own parts of this company, and there's a board of directors.
I understand. Right. Yeah. It's a management issue.
Yeah, and then I've got another company that has it's worker owned and worker ran. Right. If I buy shares into it, I don't get any say in how the company is run.
Yeah.
So, given all else equal, why would I ever invest in the co-op knowing that?
Wait. Before I can answer that question with ease, but before we get into that, I want to clear this up. Fiduciary responsibility is a legal issue. Co-ops are not illegal in the U.S. So, no, you would not be abdicating on your fiduciary responsibility according to court precedent if you're running a co-op. We got to clear that up before we get into why co-ops would be, why would they be able to attract private investment or not? Are they viable to attract private investment? Before we get into that, and I want to get into that with you because I have things that we have to clear up for that too. We have to accept fiduciary responsibility is a legal issue. It's not a matter of what is more rational for an investor. Because as you know, the stock market does not guarantee you're going to get a return, you're going to get profits. People fuck up investments all the time. Companies fail all the time. Companies aren't successful all the time. That's how the stock market works. That's how it works.
Sure, but there's a difference between a company that's trying to minimize its costs versus a company that has a board of workers.
Listen, I heard you bring up this point with denims. If you want to repeat it for your viewers.
I have to lay this on because you're arguing over and over again. So, because I don't know if anybody even knows what I'm talking about right
now. Okay, go ahead.
The way the firm is traditionally organized, labor is seen as a cost. So if you are an owner of a firm, your goal is to minimize a cost. Labor is a cost. You want to pay labor as little as possible and get the most work out of them. That's just part of what you do. You want to get the biggest return for the company possible. You want the company to make as much revenue and have as much profit. And if you've got private owners, that means delivering profit to them, right? That's what your goal is as a private firm owner, is to maximize profit and minimize costs, maximize revenue, minimize costs. If you have part of the cost, the labor, doing their own organizing representation, well, now you have a strange conflict of interest because labor is going to be incentivized to increase that particular cost of doing business because they're directly benefiting by doing so. So having private investors mixed in with labor there is a weird conflict of interest that would probably make private investors not feel confident about investing in that kind of organization. That's essentially what I'm saying.
Okay, I got you. So that's for your viewers because I already knew your argument, your whole position on that. I want to say before we get into that, I want you to make a statement on the issue of fiduciaries because a separate issue. What you're talking about is you think worker co-ops are inherently inefficient and they're not going to be good for private investors.
Inefficient and all of that is nothing. A worker co-op could be incredibly efficient. When I say fiduciary responsibility, I'm just talking about a corporation.
That's a legal issue. It's a legal issue. Fiduciary. That's when you're saying fiduciary responsibility. You're talking about something that's relating to the laws.
Sure. I mean, if you really want to be really.
But that's what the word means. What do you mean?
Okay.
According to the courts.
Wait. No.
Yeah.
You're it's kind of like saying a girl oh my god, that girl got that dude drunk and then raped him, and you're screaming rape is only when there's insertion of a penis. That's the only way for it to be rape because that's what the law says. I'm not just talking about law. I'm talking about in terms of business practice. Okay. If I invest in a
company, okay, wait. Got you. No, I got you. I got your point. Loud and clear. I got your point.
When it's co-ops don't necessarily have the same type of aligned incentive to return.
Listen, I understand you, Destiny. I'm going to address that point, but here's my issue. Richard Wolff is 79 years old, so when he hears fiduciary responsibility, he's thinking about what it actually means, what people mean most people what they mean by that is legal. Fiduciary responsibility is a legal issue, okay? And when he said, when he contested your point, you tried to make him seem and DGG tried to make him say he's a fucking idiot, and he was right. Co-ops are not violating their fiduciary responsibility just because there's no guarantee that the investors are going to get a profit back or that it's
Okay. From what I know, I know a lot, mainly Canadian law. I don't think we call it fiduciary responsibility in Canadian law. I think we call it something kind of different. But comparing co-ops to rape, I love people that don't know analogies. I think infrared is right here, unfortunately. But Destiny's gonna concede that as well, because he legally, yeah. But I don't think if you're a professor, I don't know, you're going by the legal definition. It's kind of weird. It's possible though. Who knows?
Incredibly unlikely, according to you, which is already a flawed argument, we're going to get into it, they're going to get their money back. This is a black and white issue where Richard Wolff was right in context. If you mean something different when you say fiduciary responsibility that isn't about what it actually means legally, which is how most people bring it up, and the only reason it's relevant,
I would need to see demonstrated that that's true. It's possible. So right now, I'll lean towards infrared on this.
People bring it up most 99% of the time. It was your job to make that more clear instead of insulting Richard Wolff and making it seem like he's an idiot who doesn't know anything about finance.
Well, don't. Richard Wolff was pretty.
Okay, so when Richard Wolff kept bringing up that, like, when you invest in a company, you're not guaranteed a return, blah 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 blah.
You're not.
Okay, but you are guaranteed that the company's not just going to like squander your money or totally fucking waste it.
Okay, sure, but that's an issue that courts deal with. That's an issue courts will deal with.
Okay, sure. I'm not. Fuck the courts. I'm not talking about the courts.
But why did you bring up fiduciary? Because that's what Richard Wolff was talking about.
I'm talking about whether or not the.
But now infrared's being a little bad faith. I think they're not attacking the courts anymore. Gotta chill.
The whole reason why we got into that topic was because I said co-ops have a really hard time raising capital. Empirically, this is true.
Okay.
And the reason why they have a hard time raising capital is because you don't have the same alignment of interests.
I don't think that's the reason. But it's not even relevant.
That is the reason. If you want me to get off using the term fiduciary responsibility, that's fine. We can
okay, but I need you to concede. I need you to concede that Richard Wolff was within his right to respond to you in the way he did, because any reasonable person would have interpreted your use of the word fiduciary responsibility in legal terms. So let's get that clear. Richard Wolff is not an idiot. He knows what he's talking about. It was really insulting that you're making it seem like this 79-year-old professor has been studying this for decades, doesn't know these basic things.
That's not what he does, okay? He does not study finance, okay? He wrote a long
He studies economies in general, so he knows about this stuff. He could probably tell you specific court cases about fiduciary responsibility if you pressed him.
That's why he brought up vague generalities instead of citing anything specific, okay? I'm going to tell you.
Did you ask him to? Did you pause bluff and ask him to?
I know you like screaming, but I'm going to tell you for the future, okay? Economics and finance are not the same thing, my dude.
I know, Destiny, but listen, Destiny, listen.
If you want,
I know they're not the same. Destiny.
We can go through the published work of Richard Wolff or his degrees, okay?
Destiny, listen.
Finance,
Destiny, listen. Yeah. As it concerns matters like fiduciary responsibility, Richard Wolff is going to know about things like that because they tell us about how the economic system. He does, though. He objectively proved he knew what it meant, and you didn't.
He fundamentally doesn't understand.
Yes, he does, dude. He does understand it. What are you talking? I just proved why.
Dude, why?
Because workers' co-ops are not illegal. They would not be considered to be abdicating upon their fiduciary responsibility according to the people actually measuring what that means in this country.
Wait, why are you so obsessed with defending a lib?
What do you mean? Because I respect Richard Wolff. He's an OG out here. You disrespected him. I'm not gonna. But let's not get distracted. Let's not pivot. Let's stick to this issue.
Why are you defending a liberal so much?
Okay, you can. I don't think he's a lib. Honestly, I don't.
Really?
No, I don't think he is.
That says that some socialism can involve like a lot of private investment and free enterprise.
Socialism with Chinese characteristics. They're not libs. Nobody thinks China's liberal.
Do you think China's socialist?
Yeah. Why are you pivoting though?
I'm not. You're the one that brought up.
Okay. To be fair, in that Richard Wolff thing, after watching the book Smarts thing, I also picked up on this a little bit. Destiny did miss some stuff. He did think that socialism number 3 was the best one. And then Destiny just kind of dodged it and just like was kind of mad about definition number 1, which he didn't really necessarily agree with Richard Wolff. But yeah, it was kind of stupid that Richard Wolff talked on for 18 hours straight. So I hope he doesn't stick on that point super long.
China.
No, because you talked about whether private. You're the one who pivoted. Dude, Destiny, you're pivoting. Dude, take the L. So we can move. Okay, wait. Before we can move on, you take the L on this fiduciary responsibility business?
No, not at all.
You have to take the L. Why are you pivoting then? Let's stick to the issue.
Where in China do the workers own the means of production?
Y'all, before we can get to this complicated stuff about workers' ownership, and by the way, Richard, if you want to know, Richard, since you're pivoting, you conceded on the point of fiduciary responsibility. Take the L. Now we're getting into workers' ownership means of production. According to Richard Wolff's understanding of his specific workers' ownership of the means of production, sovereign control of the workplace, he didn't argue that was present in China. He explicitly stated the contrary, actually. Richard Wolff said that in China, it's different than his own vision or model or whatever he's talking about.
Yeah, because China's a capitalist country, yeah.
No, Richard Wolff said there's different types of socialism. Play it back, dude.
Every type of economic organization is socialism. I know, I heard it, I remembered, I listened.
Okay, well, listen, dude, I know you're trying to pivot really hard. I wanted to clear this thing up so we can get into the issue of whether your argument about the cost-benefit analysis or whatever, the cost of labor is in direct contradiction with the interests of the investors. I was going to get to that point too, but you don't seem to want to concede or at least own up to your mistake when it came to fiduciary responsibility, because you made a big fucking mistake, dude. He was right. There is no guarantee that you're going to get a return on your money when you invest in the stock market.
I never said there was a guarantee.
But Richard Wolff, it was clear to everyone that's what you said, because Richard Wolff pointed out there's no guarantee when you invest in private companies that are on the stock market right now.
Wait, no, his point was just that, dude, are these guys all like 3rd grade or something? His point was just that it's more reliable. That it makes more sense. It would make more sense to invest in a non-worker co-op because the incentive is profit, and in the co-op they would be incentivizing wages more, so it would be harder to. It would be more profitable to invest in. It's not saying at all that it's just, oh, these guys. like just exclusively focused in extremes, dude. It's like, wait, you're saying that nobody would ever invest in a co-op ever, and that every co-op is completely awful and terrible? Like, dude. Oh.
It's about whether or not your interests are aligned with the people that are making the decisions of the company.
Okay, but that's not what you said. That's not what you said, actually. Okay. In the debate. You're saying that now, and you said it with
Denims. You
want
to go back? I welcome you to watch the 5 to 10 minute segment, and you can try to see.
What you, Destiny, what you said is why would anyone invest in a worker co-op when there's no fiduciary responsibility? You're not going to get value on your, you're going to get a return on your value on your investment. That's what you said.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think that I believe that you're guaranteed to get a return on?
But that's what you said. You made a mistake. You're not admitting your mistake. You always seem like you're an honest guy, but
you're not guaranteed. Oh, okay. From now on, Destiny, you're just not allowed to use any term, any legal term. You have to use exclusively legal terms to describe literally everything. You can't use any slang or anything like that to describe anything. All right? Too much confusion. None of this would be happening. Can we please get past this issue? It's getting really boring. I kind of want to go in Discord and play Overwatch. They're all playing GTA there right now, so I probably won't anyway, but I might shower, actually.
But here, you're kind of disappointing me.
Okay. I mean, you can go back and you can watch the whole
We did! We covered it like twice! We did on stream.
Okay, then I think that if you watched it all, it's pretty obvious what I'm saying.
No, it's pretty obvious what I'm saying, that you fucked up. Your Richard Wolf was right. He told you would look at a bunch of cases, and they will tell you fiduciary responsibility does not mean companies have an obligation to return value to you. They don't.
They don't. They have an obligation to act in the best interest of the company.
Yeah, but courts will interpret that. Courts will not interpret that in terms of.
Differently, of course, no shit.
But they will not say that just because you organized your workplace differently, then you abdicated upon acting in their best interest. If you're investing in a co-op, you know what their model is, and you can be informed about all of that. And this is what Denims also said, by the way. I don't even like Denims.
Here's the question. Yeah. Let's say that you're investing in a private company. Let's say that they raise money. They raise $10 million.
Okay, so you lost on the first point.
Wait a minute. I don't even like Denims. Can we pull up the clip? Hold up. This guy was simping over Denims like 2 minutes ago. I mean, not 2 minutes ago.
We can also cooperate when it's our mutual interest. We did it when we extended the New START Treaty on nuclear arms, and we're working to do it on climate change.
I don't care. Whatever it says has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Nothing that I said, I'm changing it all. Okay? Go live somewhere else.
The intelligence agency lie about WMDs.
To address the threats posed by both of these countries.
Down to the business.
Don't care. It was during this VOD, but...
I'm going to tell you. I'm not taking this video down. I'm just not. So if I get in trouble...
I love that clip, but I can't show it.
Let's say that the CEO decides to pay out all of that new investment. He gives all the money to himself and a few workers beneath him. And they don't do anything expansion with the money at all. They just pay it out to himself and all of his workers. What do you think would happen?
What do you think would happen if a company that's not a co-op did the same thing?
Why are you pivoting?
No, I'm not pivoting. I'm addressing the point directly. Okay. I'll address it directly. I'll address it directly.
The investors would take them to court and you would get fucked.
Okay. That's true for any other type of company.
No, that's not true. Because
yes, it is. If you're a company, if you're a selfish owner of a company, forget about paying the workers. What if you just squandered all the money? You took it all yourself as the owner. It has nothing to do with co-ops.
You're changing the subject.
It has nothing to do with co-ops. Dude, take the L. Come on, you're making me feel bad. Take the L. Okay. You look bad right now, dude.
Is that what you think is happening right now?
Dude, just take the L. Yes, you do look bad right now. Take the L.
Okay. Well, if a co-op would vote to give themselves all the money, the co-op would be perfectly within their rights to do so.
No. I said what you're dealing with would fall under some kind of broad legal issue.
For anybody that cares about finance, I'm just telling you. That
Destiny.
All of their wages.
Destiny. Listen, Destiny. Co-ops are not the only type of businesses that are capable of engaging in fraud under U.S. law. Other businesses can do that too.
Do you think Enron was a co-op? Of course, obviously, I don't believe that.
So why are you bringing it up? It's an irrelevant point.
I'm bringing up that
your whole confusion. Your confusion stems from the fact.
Oh, I wish I could just moderate these two. He's not saying that a co-op. Let me gather my thoughts. He's saying that a regular company is more likely to return a profit and has more incentive than a co-op does. Therefore, it is logical to just invest in in a regular business rather than co-op. Nobody should ever invest in a co-op unless it's like a big one that's good. That's his argument. But he's just saying like, what do you mean? Both sides can like commit fraud. Both sides can like. Oh, he's not talking about fraud. He's just saying one's broadly more profitable than the other. And they strive for different things. The one tries to maximize profit, and the other one tries to maximize profit while also increasing maximizing the wages for the workers, or maybe not maximizing, but at least making the conditions better. He's not even describing if co-ops are good or bad. He's just stating obvious facts. Co-ops might even be a good thing. They actually probably are. Oh, I can't, dude. This is just so bad.
That you're confusing workers' ownership co-ops with political sovereignty over the workplace, as though the co-op arrangement is going to override the laws of the country within which it resides. Most people, when they talk about co-ops, don't actually mean that. Maybe Vosh means that or something. I don't know who you've been listening to. But it's very bizarre that you would make it seem like co-ops don't have to follow the law.
What's the next thing?
Okay, the next thing, you made a really stupid point. If workers are not just a cost. First of all, two things, right? Even if workers are just a cost, it is in their interest for the shares and for the stock value of the company to go up, because that means that they can compensate themselves better. The cost can.
They don't have to do that. What if they don't want to? What if they
just? Then they're mismanaging their business. Anyone can do that.
But they're allowed to do that.
And that's me. Do you not understand capitalism? Anyone's allowed to do that. Anyone's allowed to mismanage their business, but they can be taken to court for fraud then.
Massive pay raise and just piece the fuck out, or he would pay off all of his fellow friends.
Well, yeah, listen. No advocate of co-ops says co-ops can be successful without workers making sacrifices, but they're arguing that workers will have an incentive to voluntarily make those sacrifices.
It's not about, okay, so this is the problem, is you can't, and this is a common problem with a lot of people. You have a really hard time thinking in terms of percentages or probability, or what we call it investment.
What are you talking about?
Can I finish one sentence? Okay, making like a risk adjustment, okay? So if I would give money to a co-op, or I would invest money in a co-op, right? The risk adjustment is going to be way different on this, because they could. I'm not saying they will. Now, if you want to strawman me that way and like jerk off your audience, you can do that. I'm not saying that every single fucking co-op is going to steal the money and run. Obviously, that's not the case.
There's no, okay. No, let me just finish
my point, because you're screaming so much at me, okay? What I'm saying, though, is that the possibility for that exists. And if that happens, unlike with a privately managed firm, you have no recourse. Because if you're investing in a co-op and they want to just take money and piece the fuck out, you're fucked. They can take it and run, and there's nothing you can do.
Are you done with that yet?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, good. Listen, let me teach you something about capitalism, Destiny. It's true across the...
Okay. Here's what just happened. Infrared wasn't listening at all. Pog. He had an answer about 10 seconds into Destiny's response, and then he just stopped listening to everything he said. So now he's going to blabble on about the first 2 seconds of Destiny's sentence.
The board that when it comes to models where there's less precedent, you're taking a higher risk by investing in companies where, according to probability or the past or something like that, there's not as much of a guarantee you're going to make a return on it. That was true for a lot of disruptive and innovative companies in the 90s and all that kind of stuff. That's the nature of capitalism, okay? None of this has... What you're saying is that investors would be less likely to invest in co-ops, which may or may not be true, but the reasons you gave for that, for example, the fact that the interests of the workers in the co-op and the investors are not aligned, is 100% unambiguously false.
I'm just curious. Why do you think so many CEOs are compensated in stock today instead of...
But this is where you really fucked up, and this is what I want to get to. Yes, I will, directly. Because I want to get to the actual point. Destiny, even companies that are not co-ops...
CEOs?
Yeah, I'll get to it. Destiny, even...
I don't want to hear the answer. You can get to say whatever you want to ramble about.
Yeah. They do it to align the interests of the CEO with the shareholders. But guess what, Destiny?
What does that mean? Wait, what does that mean?
I'll tell you what it means. If you let me finish. You keep cutting me off. Can I go?
No, because you're about to ramble on some other relevant...
No, I'm not. Can I go? Can I say what I want to say?
Go ahead, explain that concept to me.
Are you done talking? Can I talk?
Yeah, if you're going to
okay. Destiny, even companies that are not co-ops know that that there's ideas, and Bernie even proposed this, to give workers shares of the companies they work in. That's what most modern co-ops do.
Are you lagging?
Dude, you didn't let me talk. It was so simple.
Wait, is this lagging right now?
Is this what?
Was it lagging?
No, what's going on?
I think it lags. Sometimes it skips over words because I didn't hear you answer my question at all. So I think it just cut that part off.
Dude, you're coping, dude. Come on.
I asked you, okay, hold on.
Workers themselves. 2 points. 2 points.
What does it mean to align the interests of the shareholders with the CEO? What does that mean?
It means that the CEO is going to act in the best interest of the shareholders, which is to maximize the value of the stock.
Oh, now, can you tell me what might be different between that and a co-op?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nothing, because workers can be compensated in shares and are in co-ops compensated in shares.
Do you think that a CEO is ever going to get a big investment and just pay all of that out as bonus?
Destiny.
Wait, why can't you just answer?
Okay. I'm going to economics 101.
I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
And this is an
variable capital and constant capital. You have to make sacrifices for constant capital, not just variable capital. So even the CEO...
I'm going to say as many random things as possible.
It's not random, dude. Why are you coping so hard, dude? Take the L.
I want to have like a... Well, I don't know what I want to have right now, actually. But it'd be nice to have like a coherent conversation on the topic.
I thought you were honest,
dude. Show off like how many things you read on Investopedia. I'm just asking you some basic questions about like structures of... Because like the thing is that we can argue till we're both blue in the face.
Okay, what's your heavy hitter? Give me your heavy hitter. Go ahead.
I'm giving you heavy hitters. This is like empirical evidence that like it's really hard for co-ops to raise capital. It's one of the biggest issues.
Wait, but we didn't listen, Destiny. I didn't come here arguing with you that co-ops might have a hard time raising capital. I'm arguing with the reasons you're giving. My issue is the reasons you're giving.
One of the reasons why co-ops have a hard time raising capital is because they're not seen as very lucrative investments because you don't have the same alignment with the shareholders.
That's not why. That's not why.
Making the decisions about running.
Yeah, but that's not why.
Why do have a hard time raising capital? Raising the funds you need to start a business isn't easy. Here we go. Raising the funds you need to start a business. I just want to make sure the stream you can see. Yep. Raising the funds you need to start a business isn't easy. If you want to open a store, for example, it could be a big requirement, a big chunk of money, especially if you sure you need a building, beyond the cost. Plan a membership. First, we need to bring around long-term debt. It might be a good idea. Non-repayable. This isn't. Memberships and fees. Investment shares. Selling investment shares is one way I can raise a large amount of capital. These shares usually cost much more than membership shares. Okay. Fundraising. Grants. Group decisions. So yeah. I need to be more poignant with my questions on Google. Why do co-ops struggle to get investors? Co-ops have a problem with investment capital since the two problems with co-ops, the fact that two problems are in capital which co-ops kind of access is valuable for a business and balance sheet liability. Shareholders ultimately forfeit their whole investment if things would go wrong. Exactly. Equity is particularly important to the creation of tightening regulation rules based on opposing the banks. Yeah, this is it. This is the problem. I found it in like 6 Google searches. Not even. They can't raise money. It's difficult. It's really hard. Once again, not even arguing yet that it's a bad thing. He's just saying they struggle to do it. This is frustrating.
Well, okay, why is it then?
The reason is because co-ops are an alternative form of workplace management. There's too many unknowns. There's not a lot of precedent for it. It's a very simple explanation.
What are one of those unknowns?
One of the unknowns is whether they're gonna manage it efficiently, whether it's gonna.
Wait, that's his argument. He's like, well, it's actually just because that's literally the only reason people don't want to invest. Except, oh wait, literally every mainstream source says that that's not the case. It's because they struggle with investors because Because they can't be certain that they're going to receive a return on their investment.
Work out whether that non-traditional structure of
decisions that benefit the shareholders and not just the workers.
Like a poker us?
But that's more vague. That's more vague in the sense of like, well, any company that does that's not. Why do you keep cutting me off? Why do you keep?
What are the odds of poker us? Hey, Pog, dude. Yeah, way more than Ah. Cool, dude. It's awesome.
Cutting me off.
Not big at all.
Why do you keep cutting me off?
Just correcting you.
No, you're not correcting me, dude. The point is, of course, if a company isn't run well or is not successful, which is the main bread and butter of what we're talking about, whether it's successful or not, then yes, it's not going to align with the interests of the shareholders. But that doesn't mean shareholders think there's something inherent about the co-op model that's going to not align with their interests because it's a cost of labor or something. It's just because they're not certain. They're not certain of its success in ways that they could be more certain or more have a higher sense of probability that other models will work because that's the models that work. And that's just based on precedent, dude. That's not even based on whether it's better or not. It's just based on precedent.
Okay. What I don't understand is why won't you just take the L on this topic? Let me go to the next.
Dude, stop. Dude, it's not cute. Stop coping.
You're coping so hard.
No, I'm not, dude. You're coping, dude.
You're in full cope mode.
Y'all, if I see, I'm not even watching your chat. How's your chat doing? Do they admit I won?
Right now they're all huffing copium as well.
You guys are come on, guys. You guys, at one point, you got to admit he's wrong. You're wrong here, dude. You're wrong. You're wrong about fiduciary responsibility, and you didn't even think about the fact that workers can be compensated in shares. It was such a bad mistake. I watched your content a lot.
Wait, you don't want to compensate workers in shares. That has nothing to do with running a co-op. Fucking Google it.
What do you mean it has nothing to do with running a co-op? How do you think they own it?
Wait, why don't you tell me how you think they own
They
it?
have shares in the company as workers.
What's up, Professor?
All right.
Hello, Tynan.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, tell me more about it. How do you think they're compensated?
Something called poker.
They're compensated in a lot of ways. They can be compensated with shares. They're also compensated in wages. That's true. But that doesn't mean that.
That's an effects, but that's all. Doesn't seem to do anything. It goes away over time. There's nothing to worry about by it. I don't think that's true. What are the effects of effects? What does Pokerus do? Yeah. Doubles effort values. Oh, that's literally does nothing for me.
That they're inherently just...
Okay, hold on. Now we're getting into ethics.
Okay,
so Destiny laughed at you when you said co-op workers were compensated in shares. What do you think is one possible reason why Destiny might find that to be a funny statement for you to make?
Why? I'm stupid. Tell me.
Because what the fuck is a co-op if you're compensating a worker in a share and then he sells his fucking share?
What? If he sells his... I don't know. I mean...
What is he an employee of then at that point? He has no more fucking say in anything. It's kind of weird to look at co-op in terms of compensation in shares, because if you sell your fucking share, now you're just a fucking wage slave.
No, I'm not so sure about that, because it's not that... Well, okay, granted. They don't only own the co-op, probably, in terms of owning shares, because you can sell shares.
You're right. On right now? I want to see if you're actually holding a physical L, or if it's just like a metaphorical.
Come on, dude. Okay, I misspoke. They don't only own the company in terms of owning shares, but that... Dude, you have to understand, in co-ops, they do own shares. Workers do own shares.
Well, they have like an ownership of a part of the company, but you wouldn't say it's just strange to think of it in terms of compensating them in shares, because what do they get compensated shares and they just sell it? Well, now they're just a wage slave again, right? Like if you sell off your share, typically that means that you're leaving.
Okay, I'm gonna admit, I honestly don't know like how specifically that works. I don't.
Okay, well, I can tell you a little bit about it. If you are in a co-op, like there's different ways to organize them, but oftentimes it's like one employee, one share of the co-op, and that share gives him voting rights on how like the organization is run, depending on the size of it, right? But you would never, if you sell your share, that means you don't work anymore. You just leave.
So what's your point? What does that have to do with anything?
You're compensating people in shares because that doesn't really.
But so they're not allowed to quit.
Well, if you quit, you're selling your share. If you sell your share, you quit. You can't sell your.
So what's your point?
My point is just saying that co-op people get compensated their shares.
Okay, let me be very crystal clear about something. I don't know if I misspoke before. I did not mean to say that the only means of their ownership over the co-op is owning the shares. Let me be clear about that.
Isn't that their means of ownership? What do you mean?
No, it's not their only. It can't be their only means of ownership because investors also own shares and they obviously don't exercise executive
control. Traditionally, investors don't having non-ownership shares in a co-op is really weird, isn't it? That's
I'm seeing people.
What do you mean? You mean it's like not orthodox? It's not traditional?
I mean, it would just be like a fucking.
Well, why did you pivot, dude? You pivoted from like our original point so hard to like find one point where I misspoke. Oh, who cares, dude? I misspoke. Whatever.
Okay, go. I'm sorry. Where were we at?
But like you took the L on everything, dude. From the very beginning, fiduciary responsibility, you took the L. When it comes to the misalignment of interests, okay, your point about the misalignment of interests between investors and the workers in the co-op is 100% false, and you took the L on that. Can you admit that?
So when I say that there might be a misalignment of interests between,
and by the way, okay, go ahead.
Can you tell me what do you think I mean by that?
I think you mean to say that just because workers are a cost in terms of wages and in terms of other things, that they couldn't possibly make sacrifices for the good of a company. But the whole reason it's called let me finish. The whole reason it's called a co-op is because the people in it are cooperatively, their interests are cooperatively invested in ensuring the maximal success of the company. That's why it's called a co-op. It's not going to work if everyone's just selfish as a wage worker for their own self-interest.
Of the company, then why the fuck would they be a co-op? Why not have a private owner that ensures the maximum success of the company?
Well, the reasons for the co-op model is what they would argue, right, is that owners don't have it in their interest to benefit all of the people within the company as much.
So it's actually not, it might not necessarily be the primary interest of a co-op owner to maximize success of the company. They might want to maximize individual success, and that's why they want a greater democratic system.
Well, it could be, but it's not necessarily, or even to my knowledge, the majority of the case when it comes to co-ops.
That's the point.
It
right?
could be either way. If you don't pay your workers, and a lot of companies, for example, if you don't pay your workers enough, your company's going to hurt. Your company's going to suffer. If you don't invest in enough constant capital, you're also going to suffer.
Sure, but again, those are costs of doing business. You've never tried to.
That same thing with a co-op.
No, it's not a cost. You're like literally voting on like you getting paid more. That's way different there.
Yeah, but if you don't vote, listen, Destiny, you don't only vote on the basis of your immediate individual interest. You vote on the basis of the success of the co-op.
Well, who are you to say that? You can vote on whatever the fuck you want to vote
on.
You
can, obviously you can, but then it's not going to be successful. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, but why do you care? Maybe you just want to get a big cash out and then leave and go work for someone else.
Okay, well then obviously it wouldn't work. Then.
Private equity doing this all the time.
Wait, are you trying to say that there has to be a guarantee co-ops will work? Because that's not true for any business.
I'm not saying there's a guarantee. I'm not even saying
it's not true. That's not true for any business.
Of course, that's absolutely true. I agree with you. And I'm not even saying co-ops are bad. I'm just saying that co-ops have a lot of time raising private funding. It's a huge issue for co-ops.
That's a non-controversial claim. It doesn't justify all the disrespect and bullshit you levied.
The problem is
because Richard Wolff won the debate. The debate wasn't about whether co-ops have a hard time raising private investment.
The longest was about who had the most PhDs.
I mean, to be honest, he's 79 years old. He knows way more than you. You should have sat your ass down, and got some education, boy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You benefit. He did that shit for free too. I mean, shit, man. Damn, but we're pivoting right now. Let's go back to the meat and potatoes.
I feel like if he won so hard, why are you so upset about it? It seems a little like
because I'm a passionate man. You know what I'm saying? Look at me. No, I don't want to do that.
Okay. All right. What's your next point?
Those main 2 points. I didn't expect you to concede so hard on those main 2 points. Let me see what else was there. Oh yeah, do you want to talk about how you said that socialism was a non-decisive factor in the success of the USSR? Because you also took the L on that.
Oh, I said it wasn't necessarily a decisive factor.
It was a decisive factor. Really? The Stolypin reforms, which is what you were talking about Russia's alternative path to industrialization, was a huge fat fucking failure. And by the way, the fact of Stolypin being assassinated, which many historians point to,
the fact that so many other countries that were organized by capitalists,
like what?
The same industrial reform.
Like what? I'll give you the story. Which one?
Yeah. Japan.
Okay, you talking about the Meiji Restoration Japan? Or you're talking about Japan in the mid-20th century? Which one?
Japan in the mid-20th century.
Yeah, that was the Marshall Plan. That was off of the back of the U.S. That wasn't any kind of independent industrialization whatsoever.
Really, Japan doesn't get any credit for its economy whatsoever?
No, but it wasn't independent. It wasn't independent. It didn't need socialism because it had the U.S. Marshall Plan. That was why.
How did the U.S. Marshall Plan lead to Japan becoming one of the leaders?
Are you actually going to say such a stupid thing? Do you have any historians in your community that can explain basic history to you?
Why don't you tell me?
Okay, Japan was destroyed after World War II, right? Its industry was completely decimated, destroyed. So the Marshall Plan from the U.S. pumped huge levels of investment toward Japanese industry to prop up Japanese industry and make sure that Japan has enough funds and has enough resources to build itself back up. The U.S. built Japan back up, basically laid the foundation for that. It's not really a controversial point at all.
Yeah, but what was a lot of that foundation?
What do you mean? What do you just say? What you want to
say? First of all, I'm pretty sure the United States heavily encouraged liberalization of trade and everything, or standard what we would say.
No, it was a combination. It wasn't one or the other. There was both liberalization, and then for all the Asian tiger economies, there was heavy state intervention in the economy. It wasn't one or the other. Especially not after World War II. Arguably after World War II, we're talking about more of a heavy-handed state intervention in the economy. I mean, that's what the Marshall Plan.
I understand that there was some level of investment here, but I don't think that you can say
it wasn't just some level of investment. It was a deliberate plan by the United States to construct the post-war world order in which Germany and Japan would regain their footing as bastions of international industry. That was a deliberate plan.
Sure, I don't think that you can say for the few years.
Do you know what the Bretton Woods system is? That's what it is. We're talking about.
Just the few years that we ran the Marshall Plan. That's Japan's entire economy.
Dude, it was the architecture of the Bretton Woods system, which was a long-term plan. So I'm not just saying it was only because of they threw some money at Japan. It was a whole plan.
Okay, how do you explain areas like Hong Kong or Taiwan or South Korea, like all of these other areas that opened up their markets to more liberalized?
What you're talking about is the Asian tiger boom in the 70s and 80s. But that wasn't an independent industrialization either. It was also off of the back of the Bretton Woods system as well. Okay. The only countries that had to develop independently were the socialist ones. Isn't that a coincidence?
What do you mean by independently?
Without being attached to the Anglo-American global financial system.
Does it count? Does the Soviet Union count as developing independently when they took over the entire Eastern Bloc to farm for resources and shit?
By that time, they had already developed. In terms of what we're talking about, in terms of their industrialization, they had already industrialized. The astronomically high rates of growth began before World War II.
Was this prior to any type of socialist uprising then, prior to 1917?
No. What do you mean?
Also, didn't the USSR receive massive help from Western countries as well? Towards the end of World War II, didn't they get big influx?
Not really decisively, no. Especially not after World War II. Not really decisively, no.
Okay. Pretty sure we pumped the fuck out of them, but I don't know 100%.
Okay.
All right, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, Richard Wolff won that debate, dude. I'm really disappointed you didn't take the L on that. You should have taken the L like a man. He's 79 years old. There's no shame in losing to him, but he won that debate, dude. I just wanted to be here to vindicate him, and I think I was pretty successful in doing that.
Gotcha. Super vindicated.
Dude, don't take it personally, dude. You don't have to win every debate,
Yeah.
But he did win, dude. He did. Honest to God, I'm a neutral guy, dude. I'm not even one of those co-op people, and I was watching it. I was like, dude, you did really bad here.
Okay. Well, you got anything else for us?
Richard.
I mean, if you're, I guess that's a concession on your part. You took the L.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it.
All right. And also, I don't really like Denims, but you should apologize to Denims because what you said was really nasty to her, and she was actually right too. What you said was super
yeah, was she?
It was super mean, dude. It was super nasty, and she was right, dude. I don't even like Denims, but she was right in that encounter.
Wait, why are you telling me that do you not believe Denims? I watched one of his streams. He was just constantly simping over super hard. It's like Dems is the queen, like all this crazy stuff. I think it was maybe, I don't know, maybe he realized she was just sucked him. So
the Uyghur stuff.
What? Someone clip that.
I'm just curious. I hear a lot of tankies argue about it. I'm just curious where you're at.
Okay. What do you want? What do you want to ask me about it?
Do you think that over 800,000 people are being put into like work camps or trying to have their like religion and everything erased so that China can move into that Xinjiang?
No, that's a simplistic narrative, simplistic spin. It doesn't cover the complexity of the situation.
Oh, okay, can you cover? Oh, do you think that Uyghurs are like more predisposed to terrorism and everything, and that's why China was like stuffing them into camps?
Do you deny that there was a spike in religious fundamentalism and extremism in Xinjiang? If not, why were there so many Uyghurs found in fighting in Syria among ISIS?
I mean, there were people all across Europe that were found fighting with ISIS.
Right, but there was a disproportionately high number of Uyghurs.
People, yeah, but how many Uyghurs were found fighting for ISIS that will justify the enslavement of over 1 million of them? In
well, I'm not saying that over 1 million are being enslaved. That's what you're saying, not me.
Sure. So what do you think is the extent of the Chinese working with the Uyghurs then? We'll say working.
What do you mean?
What?
This is what I'm more interested in, by the way, because I heard they talked about Uyghurs. That Richard Wolff stuff was, I think I got a really good grasp of that debate after watching Booksmart. So, yeah, that'll be it for, this didn't help me at all. It just felt like Infrared was missing his points really hard, which is too bad.
What do you think is happening to the Uyghur people in China? Do you think that basically
they're not being enslaved? They're not being put in work camps.
What are they being put in? Are they being put in anything?
Vocational training centers.
Okay. Are these vocational training centers optional?
Nothing's entirely optional, but it's not based in like gunpoint coercion. No, it's not.
Well, what kind of coercion is it based on then?
They're given incentives to go. They're given.
Why aren't they allowed to leave?
What do you mean?
China's own official statements. Initially, they said they were just, China's released two very contradictory statements. One is they've said that they were just vocational camps, but then they've also said that it's for people that are like a little bit more extremist and can be released.
Yeah, they combine both vocational training centers for job skills with de-radicalization education.
It's kind of interesting. Don't you think it's a little weird to pair those two things together?
No.
Specific,
like, there's vocational training centers all over China, and they can be combined with many different
functions. Where they grab ethnic minorities and they force them to join, otherwise...
No, it's a simplistic spin. That's not how it works. They're not just grabbing people.
But they're not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to leave, though.
How do you know?
Well, because China's own statements have said they're not allowed to leave.
Show me the statements. Show me them.
I mean, you can, if you want, I can like... I don't
so you're talking out of your ass.
Okay.
I'm just asking you to show me them. Show me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have this like documented like on hand right now. I don't have like the links on. If you want to like debate me and go source, you can give me a little bit. And I can try to find like the statements.
Okay, I'll give you time to.
That doesn't look good for Destiny in my eyes when he's like, you can debate Roby or whatever. But I mean, he should be able to find this source pretty easily, especially if he's so confident about it.
Wikipedia.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Wikipedia. That's where I'm going. Hold on.
So weird you brought up the... Did someone clip that? He pivoted right to the... This is like the last resort after you lose to a tanky. You have to bring up like the most explosively controversial thing possible.
Well, it's not controversial to a lot of people.
Dude, China's a country with over 1 billion people. It's controversial for the whole world. Yes, it is. If you look at the list of countries that agree with the whole narrative, there's going to have something in common compared to the countries who don't.
The narrative.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
America and its allies believe something, there's a genocide happening, and the rest of the world doesn't. It's pretty much as simple as that. By the way, dude, if you think this is going to cancel me, like, I say this on stream openly all the time. I don't care.
Don't be so conspiratorial, okay?
Dude, you know what you're doing.
We can read this top to bottom.
But, like, I don't you're not really doing what you think you're doing. Like, I don't
I just wanted to know your opinion on this. I was curious if you like...
Yeah, I don't think there's a genocide going on in Xinjiang. I don't.
Okay, but we can read this top to bottom if you want for this autonomous region state...
Send it to me so I can show... Send it to me.
We can read it if you want.
Okay, so you have the whole mistranslated, dubious...
Oh, you think this is all mistranslated now? Okay, well, never mind.
Do you speak Chinese? Do you speak Mandarin?
Nope, do you?
No, but I'm not the one making definite claims based on the source.
Just to illustrate what happened, you asked me to source you where China made one statement, and then they have made statements about how like they prevent people from.
And I've been told these are mistranslations. Well, let's read it. Wait,
no, wait. I'm curious. Have you ever argued? Wait, real quick. Do you think the Holocaust happened?
Of course.
Okay. Are you aware that people make the exact same statements about like Hitler's words and things were mistranslated and whatnot? Like
no. Okay. I mean, no. I mean, it's not comparable in this case, though.
Why is it not comparable?
Because German is well known. Is a much more familiar language to English speakers. So when people say that Hitler's, people say it's just a mistranslation.
No, there must be more people on the planet that probably speak Chinese than
right. But compared to English speakers, we're English speakers, okay? So Mandarin is a very foreign language to us, okay? German is comparably less.
No, hold on, listen, okay?
Yeah.
I speak English pretty well. I cannot fucking translate German for you, all right?
No, I know, but for people to say that, everything was just mistranslated on the part of Hitler, well, Germany's within the West, it's within the sphere, we have a lot more in common with them culturally and civilizationally and all that kind of stuff. So if someone was just going to say, they mistranslated it wouldn't be as
Bro, there
convincing.
Are probably more Chinese speakers in the US than people that speak German. You realize
that? But Destiny, take the L on this, dude. The German language is in Latin. The German language is in Latin. It's the Latin alphabet. It's more related to English than Mandarin.
No, it doesn't relate.
So you think German is more of a difficult? There's more of a language barrier when it comes to German than Mandarin?
I'm saying that the language barrier is probably somewhat comparable.
I think it's a stupid thing to say. But let's watch. Let's read the document.
Well, now you're just gonna say it's all mistranslated.
No, we'll read it for the sake of argumentation. We'll read it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
The title is, so I'm reading the subtitle, I guess. Opinions on further strengthening and standardizing vocational skills education and training centers work.
Yeah.
So the Party Political and Legal Affairs Commission of Yili Kazakh Autonomous Prefecture and the Party Political and Legal Affairs Commission of all prefectures, states, and cities. In the combination boxing and 3 battles in 1 war struggle to fight against terrorism and maintain stability, it is a strategic, critical, and long-term measure to focus on free vocational skills education and training for key personnel. In order to thoroughly implement the relevant decision-making arrangement of the Party Committee of the Autonomous Region, further strengthen and standardize the work of the vocational skill training centers, here referred to as training centers, ensure the absolute safety of the training venue, improve the quality and efficiency of education and training, maximize education, save and protect key personnel, promote the social stability and long-term stability of the whole of Xinjiang based on relevant laws and regulations and based on Article 12 of the previous guidance on education and training. We again bring up the following opinions.
There's like an upcoming area where like a Pokemon is quick, where the Rattatas are. What's the upcoming? What am I trying to say? Oh yeah, in the just outside of the second gym, there's an area, and there are Rattatas there, but there's also Slowpoke Cave. I'd rather fight in Slowpoke Cave than the area where the Rattatas are, because it might be slower, but man, Rattatas are too scary. I can't mess around with those guys.
First, ensure that the training venue is absolutely safe. 1. Adhere to the comprehensive combination of personnel defense and technological defense to strictly implement measures meeting requirements to prevent escape, noise, earthquakes, fire, and epidemics. It is strictly forbidden for police to enter the student zone with guns, and they must never allow escapes. Never
I know which one. It's the number 2, right?
Sure, well, we might as well roll this anyway. Never allow staff, never allow normal deaths, never allow food safety incidents and major epidemics, and they must ensure that the training center is absolutely safe.
Okay.
Number 2, prevent escape.
Yeah, I got it. You made your point. I got it. I'm reading it loud and clear. Listen, 2 things we have to establish, right? Okay. I have to first establish personally. I can't say just because I'm seeing this, like, you just gave me a picture, so I have to verify the authenticity of this first. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's fake. Okay. I'm not saying it's real.
Real quick, I
don't know if it's real or not.
Like, this is what we're talking about. But if you want, you can just Google like Chinese statements on camps and like.
No, Destiny. I've researched this extensively. This specific.
Well, this is one of the hugest points brought up about China being.
Yes, I know, but I've heard. Listen, Destiny. Okay, I can't confirm that it's. Whenever I can't confirm if it's correct or false, I just play the devil after that's correct. So that works more productively for us, right?
Okay. I mean, like, this is like a pretty big thing, so it's weird when you say.
Yeah. Okay. Let's assume that you're not allowed to leave, right? I don't know that. I still don't know that, right? But let's just assume you're not allowed to leave. I'm going to need a little bit more than just one document because we have had. Right, and this is what I was trying to get to.
Listen, I'm going to need a little bit more than just one document that the state gives out saying that they did that thing. I'm going to need a little bit more than that. When the Canadian government comes out and says like, oh yeah, we're going to do this thing. And they say it, and they like, in like an official statement, and they like send out like a newsletter. I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. I'm gonna need a little bit more than their word. Like, dude, come on. Like, who else do you need? Like, they don't have media in there that's gonna cover it. What more do you need? Like, you can't like send in investigators in there. The government, the thing that doesn't want it to be known the most, is saying that it's happening.
So in the beginning, there have been cases in the past where documents, not saying this specific one, but documents have been mistranslated, and some have argued have been forged because the writing of the Mandarin seemed like it was translated from English. I've seen cases like that before. Okay.
Okay. Well, here, you know what? If you want, you can go and read through this whole.
Okay. Let's just assume you're not allowed to leave, though. Let's just assume. Okay. Let's just assume you're not allowed to leave. Now, from our perspective, living in America, right?
Yeah.
This seems like it's slavery. It's the same as a detention because you're not allowed to do it, right? But the way Chinese society works is that nothing is fully voluntary in general. Nothing is. I guess but it's a bad example because you're obviously a child, but school isn't voluntary in America, right? So in China, the way their society works, there's a lot of things that just aren't voluntary that people go through, but that doesn't mean that they're being enslaved or they're being, rounded up.
How do you think the Uyghurs view it?
What's that?
How do you think the Uyghurs themselves?
That would be something that Uyghurs themselves would.
And they've been interviewed. We've watched.
But I think from what I know, from what I know, the Western media has portrayed only a one-sided story of individual Uyghurs coming out and saying many things, by the way, which were demonstrably false. Would you deny that? Just so we move forward?
I'm not sure somebody has uttered.
Okay, good. We can establish that. But they haven't actually shown the many Uyghurs who don't view it that way.
How do you think the Japanese and the U.S. felt about Japanese internment camps during World War II?
It was horrible. I'm not even saying
that. Why was it horrible? Maybe there's just another view. In America, we're very.
No, listen, Destiny. I'm not even saying that I think it isn't horrible for Uyghurs that they have to be forced into vocational training systems, whatever. Maybe they do experience it as horrible.
You made it sound like
no. Maybe they do experience it as horrible, but that's different from saying there's a genocide going on or they're banning Islam in China. It's just not true.
Well, it's a cultural genocide, so I mean,
how is it a cultural genocide?
Because the goal is to erase like the Uyghur culture and to integrate.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. The Islamic fundamentalism that came in the 90s has nothing to do with Uyghur culture. It was from Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. It has nothing to do with Uyghur culture.
Part of the documents
that was a rattata.
Chinese officials targeting people for stuff related to being religious. So like they've got a whole point system for how they bring you out into.
Yes. But the religiosity that they're talking about, the religious extremism, is not indigenous to Xinjiang. It was imported from Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states.
Doesn't matter where it came from. First of all, these people this is like a fully autonomous region in China.
But you're saying it's cultural genocide. How can they be engaging in a cultural genocide when it's not part of Uyghur culture?
Because their goal is to de-Uyghurize them, right?
No, it's not. It's not. It is profusely not the case that they're trying to de-Uyghurize.
It is absolutely the case. They want these people to come out as modern Chinese citizens and to not resemble any of the.
So China has always been a multi-ethnic civilization, which they are Chinese.
You take some of your ethnicities and you shove them into camps in order to make them turn out to be a certain way. I think most.
Listen, when you're using this language, camps, you are trying to invoke the Holocaust. It's not what's going on.
I even specifically there didn't say concentration camp. Okay, I specifically didn't say that. You can call them whatever you want.
They're vocational training centers. And a lot of people listen. You have people throw links at you all the time. I got people throwing links. I'm not even gonna look at them.
Vocational, okay? No option to leave, and it's not just vocational because when you say vocational, that implies just job training. They're training them how to be Chinese citizens, not just how to work a job.
In almost so what?
So it's kind of like a cultural genocide. It's a little weird, bro.
No, it's not a cultural genocide.
What do you think they want there to be cultural Uyghurs?
At best, you could get away with calling it a form of assimilationism. It's not a genocide.
Aggressive, like non-compliant people kicked out or killed, like assimilationism.
That's so scary.
Well, if you don't comply, there's escalating.
Let me tell you something, Destiny. Destiny. I want to give you perspective about something. I want to give you perspective about something. Since you're an American, you're talking about China, right? In the year 2017 saw the biggest spike of arrests of Uyghurs in Xinjiang. 2017, it was about 200,000.
Okay.
In America, in that same year, okay, you had somewhere in the ballpark of I forget which one, either 2.8 million, 2.8 million arrests of black people. And the proportion in terms of population are very comparable. So that's 10 times more people being arrested in America based on their ethnicity than in China. At the height of the arrest, the most aggressive push, which was 2017.
Do you think that there might be a difference between us having a system that has created certain socioeconomic factors that lead to black people being arrested? Do you think that might be different than a top-down order from a single party ruling government to explicitly capture and Muslimize a whole.
What does them being a single party have to do with it? And no, they're not de-Muslimizing anyone.
They absolutely are. They're trying to integrate.
No, they're not.
They're literally moving other.
No, the Chinese line. You're not even getting the propaganda line right. No, the line is basically that this type of Islam is foreign to China, and there's an original.
First of all, hold on. It's the Xinjiang Autonomous Region. Okay.
Yeah.
These people have been here for like hundreds of years. Okay.
They've been part of China for just as long too.
Okay, but they've been in that region for hundreds of years.
Which was part of China for just as long.
That's great. Yeah. But it's not like they just appeared there and now China's trying to get rid of them. They've been there for a long fucking time.
They're part of China. They've been part of China since the time for as long as.
When did that autonomous region even join Chinese rule? I bet the Muslims have probably been there longer.
We'll get them to
20. I don't know the exact date for that region joining.
It's somewhere in the ballpark of hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So it's a long time, dude. It's a long time. It's long enough to be part of historical China. I'll tell you that. There's never been an independent state in Xinjiang called East Turkestan. Never.
Different stance here.
I don't know if they were part of China in some other form before this, but this is the incorporation of Xinjiang into the People's Republic of China happened in 1949.
Part of the People's Republic of China. Yeah, that's when the state was founded. What's your point?
Sure. So when were they captured by whatever came prior to that? I don't know. It was like the Qing Dynasty or whatever.
No, it was before. Xinjiang has been part of historical China. It's not really controversial.
Uyghur nationalist historians. Now, this is coming from Wikipedia, so this might be CIA propaganda. Uyghur nationalist historians in the People's Republic of China and the United States posit that the Uyghur people are millennia old and can be divided into 4 distinct phases. First one originates from 300 BC to 630 AD.
Okay.
Sounds like they've been there for quite a while.
What's your point? Maybe, okay, let's say they've been there for 1 million years.
My point is, I don't know if it's okay for China to just move in and say like, okay, well, time for you guys to drop.
No,
that's Chinese citizens now.
China didn't just move in; they've been part of China for long enough for it to be considered part of historical China. I mean, China didn't always exist. There was at one point on the Earth, Neanderthals roamed the Earth. It doesn't mean every historical boundaries of every state are illegitimate because they didn't exist forever. You know.
Okay, I'm just curious then. Do you think that if you were under Chinese rule, do you think it's okay what they're doing to the Uyghurs?
What do you mean okay?
As in, like, is it like a morally acceptable thing to do? It's like
from what perspective? From what standpoint?
Chinese perspective.
From the Chinese one?
How about from an international perspective?
That's where you lost me. International perspective means nothing.
Do we think that there should be any type?
You cannot put yourself in a position of judging these countries from an international perspective when you know nothing about, especially when you come from America and it's a country as different as China because you don't really know anything about China.
Okay, so then my question is, do you think that we should have any type of internationally guiding moral principles whatsoever, or no?
It's tough to say. It's tough to say because I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, let's say hypothetically, let's say that Germany decided to pass a decree saying that all men can rape all women whenever they want in society. Is that something that internationally?
Why don't we just use the example of the persecution of Jews? Something that actually happened. The German.
No, I actually like this example. Do you think that that's something that internationally we should criticize, or we should say, well, Germany gets to run Germany's nation?
I think we would consider that to be barbaric. We'd consider that to be heinous and barbaric.
Why? But then what if Infrared 9, whatever the German version of it is, comes out, okay, and he says like, well, hold on, you can't judge Germany by your own standards, okay? It's their own country. There's a whole lot of history you don't understand. How would you argue with him?
Because it would be very easy to point out that even by those German standards, unless Germans come from outer space, that this is something that even Germans themselves overwhelmingly would probably consider barbaric and heinous. It sounds like you don't have a good faith belief in the humanity of others. You think people would just accept these outlandishly and outrageously horrific things to happen to them?
I mean, the Holocaust happened, didn't it?
Of course, yeah. But here's the
internment camps in the U.S. happened, didn't they?
Yeah, but here's the thing. When the Holocaust happened, it's not only that, it wasn't just Americans and all these people who said this was a disgusting barbarism. First of all, the people who suffered it, the overwhelming majority of Jews, if not almost all Jews, recognized this as a heinous and barbaric act. All of Europe came to recognize it as a heinous and barbaric act, including within Germany, the Eastern European countries within which the Holocaust was.
The victims of these things generally do recognize it as being pretty shitty.
Not only the victims, but within these. Listen, within
the Tiananmen Square.
The territories within the historical places in which they occurred, everyone considered them fucked up and horrific. They weren't. It's not like everyone was a barbarian and that you had to have American NGOs saying this was horrific and barbaric. The overwhelming majority of people considered it that, especially when it was revealed, especially when the gas chambers and all that was revealed to the world.
I understand what the point of this is. Sure, I agree with you, but
what are you trying to say? It doesn't justify some kind of
an interesting statement.
It doesn't justify American moral universalism. It doesn't.
I'm not talking about American moral universalism.
But that's inevitably what moral universalism in the context of the present world is.
I just broadly asked you a question. I just asked you if you thought there was any type of universal moral standard.
Okay, if we mean just by that, then yes. But I also
things like murder is wrong or rape is wrong.
Yes, but
no matter where it happens.
But if you are confident enough for it to be a moral universal, you also have to have the confidence that most people, if not a huge significant portion of people within the particular territory in which the immorality is happening, will also experience it this way. It's not like we are superior.
Say next, do you think that the majority of Uyghurs think that what's happening to them is okay or acceptable? That they're not appalled by it?
I don't know.
Okay, well here's a question: if the majority of them are okay for it, why is it that Chinese camps need to ban escapees?
What do you mean?
Why do they have to take such great lengths to make?
Well, that's not even a good argument. Just hypothetically, for devil's advocate, what if only a minority want to escape?
I guess it just. I mean, like it seems like the other Uyghurs would like bully them into staying or something. They all thought that they were like on some righteous mission to be there, or whatever.
Not necessarily. It's not necessarily true. What if they just don't want to escape? They don't necessarily committed to forcing others to stay. They just themselves don't want to.
Why do you think China keeps everything it's doing under wraps so much? They ban journalists.
China keeps almost every aspect of what its national security under wraps, and for very good reason, because the U.S. is on its back, and the U.S. is committed to the balkanization of China. The CIA admitted that.
Why? So that's why they leave out. Okay. I mean, like you've conveniently like set it up so then like they can literally do anything.
You're the one who brought up Uyghurs, dude. I didn't bring up. I want to talk about Richard Wolff. You brought up Uyghurs.
Wait, if you don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not forcing the conversation.
No, I'm just trying to prove to you. I'm just trying to prove to you. I'm not scared to talk about anything. I'm not scared to talk about anything.
It's not a fucking dick waving contest.
But no, it is that. It is that because after you took the L on Richard Wolff, you tried to own me with this whole Uyghur business. I'll talk about it too if you want.
I have to talk about it. I just because people say that you like dodging around the issue, and I've heard that.
I've never dodged the issue. I've always been forthright about it. Where have I dodged?
Support the fucking Uyghur camps or whatever. You'll make arguments.
When did I say I support anything? I'm saying there's no reason to think. There's no reason to demonize China and say China's engaging in a genocide. It's complete slander. It's complete bullshit.
All right. Well, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to debate Wolff, is because I think that using the socialist tag is cancer because you unironically.
Okay, you want to talk about that too? We can talk about anything. I'll tell you why you need to use the word socialism.
Actual like fucking like genocidal apologia, which I think is like really fucked up. But
so you're denying the black genocide in America?
Yes, I don't think it's the same thing.
Well, that's where you're gonna find yourself fucking up, because whatever you can say about what's going on in China, it's nowhere near the level of persecution faced by black people in America. Nowhere near. America has the #1 incarceration rate in the entire fucking world. Okay, doesn't even come close when it comes to China. Doesn't even come close.
Can you show me where in the United States it is illegal to be black, and if you're caught being black, then an authority of the state will take you and ship you off into a camp until you're?
It's not illegal to be Uyghur in China whatsoever.
Okay.
Did you know that the height of arrests was in 2017 and that was only 200,000? How many Uyghurs are there? Tens of millions.
If you exhibit a lot of traits that make you seem pretty Uyghur, pretty Muslim, they will take you.
No. If you exhibit traits that probably imply that you are being radicalized by foreign Salafism, then it's going to be
the Chinese propaganda line. That's
what's that?
Giving. Yes, you're giving me the Chinese propaganda line.
But that's the fact of the matter. China has nothing against Islam in China. Islam has been in China almost from the very beginning. Some of the oldest mosques in the world are in China.
And now they want to move into that region, to the northwest. There's a fuck ton of rare earth metals. There's a lot of fucking oil. It's got a lot of energy.
They don't need to do this to do that. Xinjiang is part of Chinese sovereign territory, so they don't need to.
It's easier to remove all these people and do it.
No, that's not why. No. Let me tell you something.
Do you think they're doing all of it just to get rid of terrorists?
More or less, they're doing it because they consider it a huge national security concern. They're trying to engage in preventative measures in Xinjiang.
Potentially up to 2 million people in these vocational camps because they're worried about.
You can say 2 million. I don't.
You just say 100,000. I've heard.
Listen. Let me tell you why this is not a fair thing you're talking about. Because on the one hand, there's an overwhelmingly large propaganda effort on the side of the West, which is filtering a lot of things selectively that are coming from China, an extremely different and foreign country. And you're just out here saying basically, oh yeah, I just have to go on Google and I'll find. Oh, you will find. It'll be on the first results on Google. Of course it is. But that's because there's a concentrated effort to balkanize China.
It doesn't just come from Google, right?
Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying obviously most.
You literally just did.
No, I'm saying most. I'm saying you're going to have an easier time finding shit that's going to support
people that reported on leaked materials coming out of China. One was the New York Times. Now you can say that all of it is fake news, CIA shit if you want, because I know you will. But the other are the international conservative and investigative journalists. These are the people that publish the Panama Papers. These people publish a lot of compromised material.
The Panama Papers were not. The Panama Papers were overwhelmingly against the oligarchs in Russia and the enemies of.
A lot of it was against the United States as well.
Yeah, but it was worth it. It was worth it for them. It was worth it for them. It was worth it for them.
Everyone else. Okay, you're like the conservative girl I just talked to. Jesus fuck. The brain.
So what? So Destiny,
you know what I think happened?
Yeah.
I think that cell phones fucked us hard. Because I think what used to happen was there was a whole bunch of crazy fucking people that like believed in UFOs and Bigfoot and all this shit. But now that we have cell phones,
but Destiny, here's the difference between you.
And now that all of that stuff is gone, well, where the fuck do all the crazy?
But Destiny, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing. I would concede to you. Yeah, I would concede to you that I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist if it wasn't for the fact that China is a country with over 1 billion people halfway across the world with a completely different worldview, and that I think if you talk to more Chinese people and you got more of the perspective that prevails within China, you wouldn't be so adamant in asserting that the propaganda push being pushed in the West is objective and indisputable truth to the point where if you display any skepticism of it whatsoever, you're a crazy UFO. Like, what I'm saying is not crazy for Chinese people.
Exact same thing. Okay,
but for Chinese people, it's not crazy.
So the conservative lady, she would say, "Well, these crazy people way on the far left, they're going way too far." And I agree with her. I was like, "Okay, sure," but that doesn't mean you have to be the total opposite. And now you're giving me the same line from there. You're saying like these crazy people publish propaganda about Eastern countries, and you know what? They probably do something. In fact, there's been times demonstrably where
no, listen, Destiny.
But you have to take up the most contrary position possible.
No. But Destiny, you just talked. Wait. You just talked about an international perspective. Most of the world does not agree with your perspective about China.
The world, absolutely, maybe not about China.
The English-speaking world does. The English-speaking world does. But guess what? America and its allies are not the majority of people on this earth.
Okay. We do believe that there are some like international consensuses on some things. Like we want to avoid things.
American consensus. It's the American consensus. By what metric can you say there's an international consensus?
Even the blackest people in Africa that are as anti-American as possible still want good healthcare and not to die of disease. I think that there are some universal things that do you know?
Okay, but African countries don't think there's a Uyghur genocide going on.
I'm just saying that there are some topics that internationally we probably all feel the same.
So who's going to verify that consensus?
During childbirth, we probably want access to things like vaccine. We want food.
If that's true, and I agree with you, it is true. You don't need to have America be the arbiter of international consensus because that would be organically manifest within the particular territories over which you want to over which right this has relevance.
It seems like we build these hierarchical structures over the world, and America sits at the top right now. If it wasn't America, it'd probably be someone else.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I don't think American unipolarity is structurally tenable for any power. I think
you're the history guy here, and I'm not. So tell me, has there ever been stable points in human history where empires existed that were
actually
empires exist?
But there has never been a unipolar empire over the entire world. There's never been. That started with the.
That's less a political reality, more probably reality of like the technology.
Destiny, the world, the idea of a world like an international order is something very recent in human history.
Because it's only been recently technologically enabled.
It's not just because of technology. There's other reasons. But my point is that
primarily
there is no historical precedent which suggests there is no historical precedent which suggests
to have a global empire if it takes you 2 fucking months to sail across an ocean to reach the new world.
Okay, that was one of the corresponding factors, but it wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other things too.
Okay, but even before that, you had empires that spanned the British Empire, the Roman Empire, the Mongols. Like
you just mentioned too many. The British, yes, the British and the American. This is the global international order as we know it.
The British were global before they even knew what the fucking globe was. What do you mean?
Are you sure about that?
Were they not?
The British Empire comes after the New World is discovered, right? Oh, well, I mean, am I wrong about that?
I don't know. You know what? It's possible that I'm wrong because you know what? I suck with history. But I know that there were a lot of countries that were fighting in Europe prior to the discovery of Americas for territory.
Yeah. So the world for them was Europe. That was the world for them. There was no
Wait a second. Hold on. My history sucks. Who sailed and discovered the New World?
It wasn't the British.
What were they called then?
Is this your question?
No, I legitimately don't know. Who lived in the island of Great Britain? What did those people call themselves? Were they
in
all
Britain?
Spanish?
Or the people who discovered the New World? I don't know what you're talking about.
What did they call themselves?
The British?
Yeah.
What are you? They didn't discover the New World first.
Well, no, but there were empires that existed in Europe prior to the discovery of the New World. No.
So.
Okay. I don't know.
What's your point? They weren't global empires because they didn't. There was no international order. They were confined.
Did they not think they were relatively global at the time? That was my goal, right? Like I'm sure there were like the fucking the Spanish Empire, whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they considered the extent of the world to be Europe, but that doesn't mean there was international order because in reality, Europe was not the world.
Sure, but I don't think they knew that at the time.
No, they did know that at the time. They didn't make the pretense to the actual international order. They were confined to their local circumstances.
Weren't all of these nations initially like highly imperialistic? Like if they thought
yes, they encompassed vast territories. They were highly expensive.
And if they discovered any type of new fucking island or any type of new fucking peninsula or anything anywhere, didn't they all fucking sail?
But there wasn't any international order at that time.
But wasn't that like the goal? Wasn't that why they fought over territories and shit?
It was not. No, it was not for the global in this modern relevant sense of the word. Like every single part of the earth. No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I mean, there's no precedent in history that suggests that the unipolar American system is inevitable. It's not. There's no precedent in history suggesting that.
So what do you think would happen if the U.S. stepped down as like the world?
I think there will likely be some kind of multipolar arrangement, some kind of multipolar world.
Isn't that arguably? Could you argue we have that now with the U.S. and China?
It's happening. It's happening.
Okay.
Is there any other like gotchas you want to throw at me besides the Uyghurs?
I'm not trying to throw gotchas. I'm just asking questions. You don't have to talk about the Uyghur shit at all.
All right. Well, I don't think there's a genocide going in Xinjiang. I have no reason to believe it. And I think it's a form of demonization and racism toward China, and it's an unwillingness to learn and humble yourself to the fact that China is a completely different civilization. It's a completely different culture, completely different people. And if you want to know about China, you have to humble yourself to talk to Chinese people.
They're undergoing the vocational training.
Yeah.
They have no choice. The non-optional one, the fourth one. You think that most of them
look, all non-Western societies have a different view of choice and voluntary, but this doesn't mean it's the same thing as rounding Uyghur and forcing them at gunpoint. If they were to make it, maybe if they were, I don't even know if it's true or not. I'm just arguing the devil's advocate at this point. But it's possible that it is not fully voluntary. But nothing is fully voluntary in nothing's fully voluntary in any society. It's just in the West we pretend it's voluntary.
Do you think? Well, okay, never mind. I'm going to ask. Do you think that all forms of non-voluntary are the same? Because you're hardcore equivocating. You know they're not the same. But there's no point.
No, I don't. But I'm just saying. Just
no, you're equivocating. Why would you say something like that? Like, oh, well,
say what? I'll give you some example of how Chinese society works. Yeah. But in Chinese society, right? It's not just you're an abstract individual atom who has a completely free choice. You're first born.
I understand that there might be a difference between East and West organization of how Uyghurs are fitting into our country, but I don't think there is a way where you can make that so that Uyghurs are like, yeah, I totally understand.
Listen, I am not prepared to deny that Uyghurs may be repressed in China, forcibly assimilated. Maybe they feel this way. I genuinely don't know enough. But
well, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Before you took a way stronger statement on that, you said that there was no genocide happening.
Not a genocide, exactly, because I don't think China is doing anything exceptionally repressive or doing anything barbaric in Xinjiang by any modern standards. It's a way to demonize China. It's a form of Orientalism, and it's a way to portray China as this evil other and mystify and Orientalize it as an Asiatic despotism or something. It's a complete negation and complete refusal and rejection to open oneself to the fact that these people, Chinese people, have a completely different society, completely different culture, and you have to learn from it. You can't just impose your perspective
so then you think
on them.
Then what's happening to blacks in the U.S. is okay then? Would you say that? Just our culture, our perspective?
No, of course not.
Wait, why is that not okay?
Who said anything about okay either way? I'm just saying the fact of this happening in the U.S. means you have no right to sensationalize something going on in China when you have nothing to stand upon. You're an American. How can you say China is engaging in a genocide as if it's the next Nazi Germany when the same thing's happening in the society you live in, which you consider normal and you experience as normal?
I don't think the outcome of a system that might have some...
But you experience it as your normal, sane reality.
I can criticize both without...
You criticize the American one, but you still experience America as sane, normal in your everyday life.
No,
you don't make a boogeyman of America. You're not out here making a boogeyman of America.
All the time on the left, we talk about how fucked the criminal justice system is for black people.
Yes, but guess what? Leftists talk about this shit all the time, but at the end of the day, this is the society that they were born in. This is the society that ultimately makes sense to them. This is the society that ultimately they're familiar with. China is a completely different society that works in a... Listen, I am not denying Chinese society has problems. But just like how it is in America, the problems in China are problems for the people living there. The problems in America are problems for the people living here. My issue is that people are denying Chinese people even exist as their own type of civilization rather than... Like everything, whenever anyone brings up China...
How tall are you?
Why?
A huge reach because you're really reaching there, bro.
Every time someone brings up China in any type of way,
every time, why do you keep pivoting so hard to these like people hate Chinese? Trump said the Chinese virus.
I didn't say anything about Trump.
Yeah, well, why are you talking about any of the other shit? I was asking like a very simple, pointed question about like the Uyghur stuff going on, and you're giving me all this fucking these diatribes. Like, well, what about black people getting arrested in America? It's like, damn.
I'm saying you don't have a right to critique China. You don't.
You absolutely do, of course.
No, you don't.
You have a right to critique anyone you want. You can critique anybody you want.
But you're a hypocrite when you do it. You're a hypocrite because you're a hypocrite when you do it.
Okay.
Unless you can simply say, maybe China has its own...
If we're going by strict debate tactics, being a hypocrite is not, in fact, a logical fallacy. One can still be...
Destiny. Yeah? You are a guy who's pro-establishment, You're for the American government that exists right now.
Do you have a source on that?
What's that?
Do you have a source on that?
Well, you voted for Biden. You wanted people to vote for Biden.
I want you to link me a video of me saying I voted for Biden. We'll wait.
Okay, I'm wrong? That's what I thought. My bad. Listen, unlike you, Destiny, I can admit when I'm wrong about things.
I just want you to link me a source on that. That's all I want.
I don't have one. I
didn't say that I was right or wrong. I've done a lot of research into this, and I just don't know. So I'm just asking if you can link me a video.
I can't link you a video. It was brought to my attention. It's the extent of my familiarity that you were pro-Biden in the general.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to take the L on that one, Chief.
Oh, you're pro-Trump, or you didn't want to vote at all?
You don't have a source for me, so.
No, am I wrong? I'm talking to the source himself. It's your job to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Am I wrong?
My job, anything. That's a very egocentric.
I'm talking to the source right now. I'm not making a claim that can't be. I'm talking to you now. Am I wrong or right?
Sanctimonious rights we have in the United States, the privacy of the vote. You're demanding it from me?
Okay, it's kind of pathetic, dude. You take the L on this? Both the Richard Wolf issue and now the Uyghur issue, you take the L?
Is that what I'm doing right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 600 views right now, dude. It's the most I've ever had.
That's crazy. Well, drama's working.
So you did take the L, dude.
Genocide deniers in your chat, man. It's good. I'm glad.
They've always called me that. I don't care.
I walked so that you guys could run right to the genocidal denial forums.
But dude, they've always called us that. That's not new. The only difference now is I have 600 viewers.
Crazy. All right. Well, hey, listen. It's been fun.
All right, you take the L. You lost.
Yeah. When are you gonna go fight with Vosh again?
Oh, whenever he grows some balls, dude, we're gonna have that round 2 if he grows some balls. I think he's too scared though.
Okay.
He's scared, dude. Just like he's gonna see this, he's gonna be scared as fuck. I took down his daddy, you know? Like, you're the original guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right, well, listen. Try not to. I want to ask you so badly, but do you think people exaggerate the Tiananmen Square thing too?
Yes, that is also distorted to a great extent in the West, and I know Chinese people who tell me as much.
Gotcha. All right.
Do you know any Chinese people who live in China?
I'm taking the L on that one too. Okay.
Okay.
I got more than I can hold right now, so I gotta take out and go. I gotta peace out and go box these up.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you for platforming me and giving me 600 views.
You're welcome. Good luck. I'll get a lot of subs tonight. Be careful.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun. I was kind of hoping that would take me to the end. My what I kind of want to do is kind of want to get everyone to 25, and then I'm gonna get this Radicate to 20, then pause, take a little break, hop in Discord, and chill out for the rest of the night. Do a little bit of grinding in the background, maybe. We do a little bit of grinding. We do a little bit of grinding. We're almost there. It's supposed to be a random film, so no one did. Nope, don't do that. I can feel my mind starting to rot a little bit. The mind rot, dude. It's catching up with me. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. After this Eradicate gets its level, we have to look at the last little bit of that sociology doc. Hey, we got him. Okay, should we do Overwatch? Then we'll call it a night. No. Nope, we're gonna shower. Executive decision to shower. So I just realized literally everything was muted. I'm gonna try to get my audio in here a little bit better. think this is it? Is this it? Does this sound okay? um, no, I just want to see the. It's like a V and then a. Is it a V? How do you type a heart? No, I just want to see how. Alt plus 3? Wait, is that true? And before stream completely breaks? Okay, so that's part of the heart. But there's another part I'm missing. Where is it? Oh, boom. Yeah, I think that's it. It's close enough. Okay, see you. Where is it? Oh, boom. Yeah, I think that's it. It's close enough. welcome back. So I realized I actually have a few things to do. I have to look over that stuff for school. Then I have to change the thumbnail. I kind of want to do the thumbnail now. So we'll go to log in. Nope. All your designs. Okay. Create a design. Okay. Made a copy. It's generating the copy. Oh, okay. It was just, for some reason, being unimaginably cringe. Okay. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. This. Background even can go. This should be edited to say day 2. Took a Faulkner. Is that what it is? Faulkner Gym. Faulkner's Gym. Oh wait, no, it's Faulkner. Faulkner Gym. Okay, this is not it, but the whatever will help me. Violet Gym. Okay, here we go. This is the image we need. Save image as Faulkner Gym Heartgold Soul Silver. Save. That downloaded the like if I upload media device, it's not gonna load, is it? Oh, well, yeah, you could have fooled me. Send it to the back. For alligator. Haunter. And I also like that it's not a PNG at all. A lot of things here. Cancel it all. Bring it all back. Cancel. Just bring me back. Okay. This thing. Go. Get out of here. Why is this a PNG as well? Trash. Trash. This is really a PNG, Doug? I don't think it is. Are we literally gonna have to use the first result off Google? That's kind of lame, but whatever. Does this one really not work? Delete. 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 Wait, maybe this one. This is a little bit further down. Oh, it actually saved the image type as a PNG this time. How does it? Yeah, see, it recognizes everything else's. Delete. Have fun with the virus, dude. Wow, it's an actual PNG. That's crazy. Cool story. What's this one? I like this one. It's a fat Raticate. If it'll actually work for me. No, it didn't. Okay. What's it? Wait, it's exactly what I'm looking for. All right, we're done. Download. Download. Thanks. Cool. Cool. We're done. Home. Oh, they oh no, never mind. I got changed. Cool. Coolerino. Awesome. Awesome. I feel like there's one more thing I needed to focus on. That wasn't emails. We're doing emails, and then we're doing school stuff. You guys can't see any of this, unfortunately. So I'll put on a video in the background. You know what? No, we'll just go straight to DGG. See what they're up to.
Debates that, you know, like in the Marxist, the internet, were like, you know, well known, right? And so I actually came in to sort of correct a few points, and you were very gracious about it and said, yeah, well, I guess I misunderstood. Thank you for correcting me. Something like that, right? And that was sort of the end of that. But shortly afterwards, or at least, you know, several months later or something, people started to say you were attacking the labor theory of value, and they asked me if I would have a conversation with you about it to address that, right? Now, I, you know, said, well, I would look into it, but for whatever reason, a long time has passed since those people started contacting me, and the issue came up again because of your discussions with Pogan and Richard Wolff, right? And I understood you to be saying that the theory is bullshit, right?
I will say that, like, after this conversation, my opinion is wholly unchanged. But
okay, well, so do you think you can make an argument that the theory is bullshit? Because
half of it is gonna. I mean, like, so I feel like our first problem is the idea that we can't explain like 80% of the economy because we have no way to analyze services. When I think we can do that, like with a marginalist framework, it seems a little sus to me. Or does that? Do you not care about that? Or I'm curious how do you square that away in your head that you have no?
Yeah. So, so the labor theory of value is part of the view that the source of all value lies in the productive sectors, and so the profits that are accrued in services are actually sucked out, so to speak, of the productive sectors of the economy.
So let's say that. I know we get really uncomfortable when I ask LBTers to do this, but like, let's try to use a real world example. Let's say that we set up a massage parlor outside. We have people lay on the ground and we just give them back rubs. How does that service take money out of like the productive or the manufacturing or whatever other sectors? Can you explain that?
Well, I'm just saying that on the theory, it doesn't actually generate value, right? You're paid for the service, right? And if your costs are lower than what you're paid, right, you can earn a profit in that sector. I'm just saying that from a theoretical point of view, right, from the point of view of this theory, the LTV, there's no actual value being generated in that in that sector. What's happening is that value is flowing into the sector in the form of payments, right? And those payments happen to be greater than the costs that it takes to undertake those services, and so therefore those people can earn a profit. But it's not in any way, I don't see why that's some kind of problem for the theory, right?
Because it seems to me that this theory is like, it exists like very much on like the very fringe margins in terms of making some very grand predictions about the economy in the future. But in terms of like day-to-day understanding of like economics, it just has zero, it seems like it offers almost no utility.
Okay, so what I wanted to understand was, see, I'm still not clear on what your position is, right? That's
your thing just cut off again.
Sorry, I'm still trying to understand what your position is, right? Because what I was trying to, that's why I kept asking you, are you claiming that the theory is inconsistent? A, are you claiming that it's false? B, are you claiming that it's circular? C, are you claiming that it's unfalsifiable? D, are you claiming that it's ad hoc? E, right? Are you claiming that?
Okay, so just to be clear, you just said the same thing like 5 times. All I'm saying is that I don't think there's much utility out of it. That's all I'm saying. I'll say that again. I think I've said that before. It might be wholly consistent. We could generate any theory we want out of a set of axioms, and it could be consistent and wholly whatever. But my problem is that I just don't think it offers much utility. I don't think it like maps onto reality much. I don't see much predictive power in it, other than these like 11 or 12 novel things that it seems like you said other economic models already can predict and explain. And then also the fact that it doesn't seem to account for or at least the value has no mapping on a price for like 80% of our economy seems to be pretty troublesome as well.
Yeah, well, so again, I see that's why I was see you raised a number of points there, so I'd have to address each of those in turn, right? So you said that it was troublesome that it doesn't provide a it's not a theory of the service sector. And see, I'm trying to understand why that's a problem for the theory, right? The existence of services doesn't, the fact that services could be the dominant part of the economy, none of that actually contradicts the theory. So I'm not understanding why that's a problem.
It feels like I have no useful way by which to map that value that the LTV produces onto anything that exists in the service sector. So why would I ever use this form of analysis, or why would I care about any predictions that it makes?
Well,
let us.
You're then cut off again.
Sorry. The reason why the form of analysis was taken to be valuable is that it describes the evolution of the capitalist economy, right? And it's highly corroborated.
Okay,
right?
Real quickly, hold on, real quick, because you keep repeating this. I don't care that it can explain something. I'm asking for novel because we've got competing theories that explain things, right? So my question is, why would I use? Because you're the one making the affirmative argument for the LVT, right? So I'm just asking why.
Is that
why this over something else that seems to be more widely accepted, like ubiquitously around the world?
Yeah, because those.
Okay, I gotta mute this.
So my question is, why would I use? Because you're the one making the affirmative argument for.
Okay. So when I do this, okay, I gotta mute this.
So my question is, why would I use? Because you're the one making the affirmative argument for.
Okay. So when I do this, okay, I gotta mute this. Doesn't look like it does anything wrong. Everything seems okay.
Taken to be something, at least by some Marxists.
Wait, we don't have a weird feedback loop, right? No, we don't. Okay.
A contradictory mode of production, and therefore to not be sustainable.
Does it seem weird that it's supposed to explain like so much of capitalism, yet it seems inadequate to account for like 80% of the economy, or like every economic sector trying to transform to service economies?
Actually,
I'm not sure what you mean by by inadequate.
Okay, we're done with this argument with them here. Feminist theory. Feminist theory focuses on sex and gender, but the general disadvantage we as men have discriminated against them. That's probably true. Inclusionism recognizing the conflict of racial ethnic groups. World II sociology took the assimilation view of race being cultural majority would eventually resolve the minority melting pot. So question of immigrants into places like Canada. How does social change come about decay? The inevitable fall from grace cycle with a progress. Single factor change. I think I don't think we were supposed to do anthropology. I think we were just supposed to do sociology. Okay. So, I guess that's everything.
Yeah.
Time skip.
Dirty my boy
skip.
We're shooting cops.
Fucking
wow.
genius.
That's crazy.
And fucking up heists.
No, not fucking up. We're geniuses.
Adding value.
Doing really well in heists. Whip.
Hey, yo, white boy, turn on the radio.
Holy shit, this actually is good because it gave, you know that thing where if you fail a heist often enough, your car just goes super fucking fast? You also get like super armor as well on your car. So it's like a speedrun tactic. Well, I got that, so my car is super fucking fast.
The speedrun tactic.
Placebo.
No, like, I got there in record time.
So did we. Liam, wait for them to raise the arm.
No, do not wait for them to raise the arm. Literally just plow through it. I did that one time. There is no benefit. You can plow through it without even waiting for him to start raising it.
Liam, go. It's raised. Liam. Keep going. A bit further. Ignore this guy. Keep going. Alright, go.
Can I drive, please?
Oh yeah, he's got to check your...
Kaya, there are two results that I would accept for valedictorian. Otherwise, I'm saying the election was rigged, alright? Here are the two results. One, you win in a complete landslide. It's not even close. It's a complete joke, alright? And number two, Armand and Sarah are the two top runners, right? And Armand wins by about 4 or 5 votes. And afterwards, Sarah comes to us and is like, hey, did you guys vote for me? And I say, no, I voted for Kaya. She goes, hey, what the heck? Now Armand won. And I say, wait, are you saying I should have strategically voted?
Holy shit. That's fucking gaslighting.
That would be amazing.
Marcus, why did you do that?
Because he's gonna spot us regardless, so it's better to shoot him right off the bat.
Marcus and I kind of got that stuff down. You can't stealth through him; he'll just see you. So you might as well get the jump on him, so you can't take any unnecessary damage.
Damn, bro, you guys got 5 stars on you.
We're in the middle of a prison.
Yeah, we all are gonna get 5 stars soon. I should probably hand in my math homework considering it's due in 10 minutes, but...
Nah, cringe.
I submitted my shit, like, at 2 in the morning, which is, like, 2.5 hours late, so you know what?
Yeah.
Combine ammo, there we go.
Honestly, if you're sleeping and it gets submitted while you're sleeping, that's the same thing as midnight, so you can shut up.
Yeah, see, online school, I just do what needs to be marked, because they're not going to look at my marks, and I know how to, like, calculate interest. I don't want to say I'm better than people, right? I'm just saying I may have taken a class that was necessary for maybe a certain program that I might be overqualified for. So I've been away for maybe 3 hours total in that class, and I have 100 so far.
Yeah.
3 hours spent awake.
Like, damn, you all doing breakout rooms? Like, Mason messaged me, he's like, hey Kai, what's up, sexy? I'm like, oh shit. I was asleep. We did a breakout room in groups of 3. That's why breakout rooms are dumb, because you can't do them while asleep.
Yeah.
Any online school thing that can't be done while in your sleep is bad.
True.
Because
that's definitely true. That's a base take.
That can't be done.
So I told the teacher I have sleeping problems, which is kind of right. I kind of really do have fucked up sleep. Not the worst sleep. I don't think it's worse than Ashton's.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
Ashton, do you sleep?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
What are your average sleep hours? Like, how many hours do you sleep a week?
Like a week? I don't know. Per day, yeah. Like 5.
Oh, okay. Actually, you know what? That's better than I thought.
It's not terrible, but it's like I'll get 2 hours and then I'll nap for like 3.
Oh, is your distribution really bad? Do you do like 2 hours
Sometimes.
one day and then like 12 hours another? Is that like the?
Yeah, I do that as well.
That makes sense.
man. This shit's fucking whack. It's like, hey, you gotta park the prison bus. So I park the prison bus. It's like, get in the prison bus. Man, shut the fuck up.
Hey, get in the helicopter. This jet's on me. Man, the modern society is really built for cars.
Why did we abandon the train?
Yeah, like, damn, look at all these roads, bro, and, like, carved into the mountains and shit. Like, why a car gotta go up there? I mean...
Imagine a cross-Canada train system.
I saw that, interpretation of what humans would look like if we were evolved to survive car crashes. Like, yeah, that can probably happen one day. Like, that seems, yeah. We do sit in our cars a lot. Tag a shorty who don't have their driver license.
Tag a shorty. Holy shit. Can you see how shot up I am?
What? Yeah. That's
Taking a few bullets.
Yeah, taking a few. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of holes.
Alright, that's gonna do it for tonight. We had a really good stream today. I think we got attempt 17, you know, it's the one for now. Tomorrow we got Spirit Tower and stuff like that. Which is cool. So yeah, that'll be it. See everyone at 8 tomorrow.